there will be Hello everybody, welcome to another React stream. Oh no. Why do I always have my volume on? Why do I I'm ruining my momentum! What the fuck? Okay. Echo, yep. There was 2 Rimas for a while. So, sorry about these lazy streams. It's just that I'm really swamped with the reactions. With the preparation for the debut and the new videos that I try to keep weekly. And also, I just got notified that I had some family in town, so they probably want to do something tonight, so I have to stream now. But I wanted to stream a little just to spend some time with you guys. And tomorrow I have 2 collabs back to back, so it's going to be a big day for me. I am going on the Arcast stream at 4 p.m. EST, and at 7 p.m. EST I have a collab with D, which is an indie VTuber that streams on Twitch. That was there during my collab with Miri Sapphire, one of the Ian girl that I did a collab, like an Oh Dear collab with last week. So it's gonna be back-to-back collab, so really this is the only time I can stream this weekend, Sag. You're welcome, Antoy. I love your videos. I'm glad you do. Remarked stream. Yep. There's been some videos that I've been meaning to watch, but I was so busy with work. I was like, focus, Rima. It's not the time to watch a video right now. You gotta finish the script. And I stayed up really late yesterday to finish a new script. I know that I'm not gonna have time. Like, if I don't submit the footage right now, we're never gonna make it for the deadline for the day after my debut, and I know I'm not gonna have time to work on this later this week. Like, there's just so much preparation left to do, but one thing at a time. But so this is kind of like my break. I get to turn my brain off for a while and just watch some video with you guys. Thank you to Putis. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, all right. So let's get started so we can fit in as many videos as possible. These are all user submitted videos, except that one. That one was actually on my watch list. But if you want to submit videos for me to react to, you make sure to join my Discord channel, discord.gg/Rima. My volume is always so
No leaks shown in this video, so don't worry, you are in a safe place and we are good to go. So for this video, I am not really gonna use a script because things are about to get emotional. I mean, I'm the one who is supposed to break down all the characters. But long story short,
I actually used to really like this guy's channel. He tells all of the league lore, and I love the league lore. Some of the stories were really good. Have you guys watched Arcane? It's a really good show on Netflix, but I think it came out like years ago, like 3 years ago. And it's taken them like 4 years or 5 years to finish the show, so. But apparently it leaked, and I wonder how much of it leaked.
there was an oopsie of a catastrophic size.
Oh.
At least that's on paper, because in reality the files that leaked were quite tiny. Now of course, because we are covering this here, it means that Riot was hit. However, they were not the only ones that were hit. And worst of all, the leak that happened was just incredibly dumb. But yes, in case you haven't heard, there was quite a big leak around Netflix. Now of course, leaks are somewhat common when it comes to entertainment, because the moment things get into localization, you have to give your show to someone else whom you have to trust. Then they do their thing with it, which usually means they dub over it or they make subs for it or something like that, and then they give you the show back. During that opening, there is a lot that can go wrong. And that is exactly what happened. And we even...
Hey Rima, just watched the Maru video and it was awesome. Thanks so much for the fact and evidence-based approach to this controversy. It's very needed. Thank you. I hope it helped debunk some misconceptions about this. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Sean. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Got a quote from a Netflix spokesperson. So what happened is that one of our post-production partners has been compromised, and footage from several of our titles has unfortunately leaked online. Now, I've heard that this was just a dubbing studio. So it is exactly what I just described. They were supposed to dub the show in a different language, which means that they had the footage, and so they became a valuable target. Now, the quote mentions that this partner has been compromised, which means we unfortunately
What
don't
do they mean by compromise? Is it like they got hacked?
know if they got hacked and someone just got into their
Yeah.
server, or if there was a really dumb person who just gave the keys to someone they shouldn't have trusted.
Oh,
But because the
no.
leak seems to be quite big, it seems like someone hacked into their system. And then Netflix also mentions that our team is aggressively taking action to have it taken down. Now let me tell you, if you've been on Twitter, they are probably not trying hard enough. I can guarantee you are one search away from just accessing all the episodes. But then again, there's gonna be thousands of people sharing these episodes just so they can have 3 likes on a tweet. Which means there is no way Netflix can catch them all. Though, because they mentioned
Ice Daddy, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Enjoy your gift, guys. Oh my god, thank you so much, Ice Daddy. That's really appreciated. Finally getting to catch another Rima stream. I'm working right now, so I can't chat, but I will be listening. Oh, enjoy, enjoy. Don't worry about the chat. We're just vibing.
that they are going after them aggressively, I'm pretty sure some suing is gonna happen. And speaking of Twitter, if you are on that website, I would recommend just muting a few words.
Did the whole season get leaked? Apparently just some footage, but from every one of their episodes, like... Actually, I don't know. I don't know if it's the whole season or just bits of it. He made it sound like it was a lot of bits of it.
Stuff like leaks, Arcane, every single character that appeared in Arcane.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be annoying, but you can unmute the words when it all comes out, I guess. But for now, that is our only defense. Now, the good thing, from what I've heard, is that the footage that got out is potato quality. Which means the footage is likely watchable, but you may get the feeling that you are back on YouTube in 2004. So even if you go after the leaks, that probably won't be...
Yeah, but it's more about like who's appearing in it, which character they're putting in it. All of that is... If just knowing who's gonna be in the show is already enough to spoil you, because there's an element of surprise here. A 144p, I forgot about a 4.
Be the best experience. Now, the funny thing is that after the Netflix leak got out, a lot of the websites that covered it didn't even mention Arcane, even though Arcane was the #1 show on the entirety of Netflix for like a month. No, instead, the covering of the leaks focused on a lot of animes. For example, and again, don't worry, I am not leaking any footage, but a few episodes from the 3rd season of ReZero are out. Apparently, there is a Mononoke movie, and the Terminator Zero anime, which I have a feeling has nothing to do with Arnold.
Wait, it does? There is a Terminator anime from the original Terminator universe? Why did no one tell me this exists?
And what's really cool to see is that some of the animators and the people who worked on these animes decided to speak out. Specifically, they are talking to all the people who like leaks and who want to spread them, because everyone should be able to watch this glorious show.
Oh, it's all episodes from this article? Damn.
This is our hard work. It is meant to be released on its due date, something we, as animators, really look forward to. It is incredibly disrespectful and just straight up annoying. You think you are doing some kind of service to the community, but you are not. Now let me be clear, no, those people don't believe they are doing any kind of service to the community. They just want to be the one who is leaking all the episodes because they get all the likes for it. And yeah, I don't believe there ever was a person who managed to start a career on a leak. which is why these people are just scummy. But yes, as I mentioned, among all of these shows, Arcane leaked too. Or at least the first 5 episodes. Now we don't know how many there are gonna be. My guess is that it is gonna be a 3-week run with 3 episodes each, as it was with season 1. But that is just guessing. We have...
Thank God it's 3 episodes each. They know not to like drop feed us episodes one by one. I don't have the patience for that anymore. I think I enjoy a story more when I can see more episodes together.
No idea. And what's funny is that this isn't even the first time something from Arcane 2 leaked. I know, I'm somehow dodging spoilers here, like Neo. And again, don't worry, I am not spoiling anything in this video. But just know that the VGU linked to Arcane also leaked. I don't know how it got leaked, I don't know if it was just concept art or if it was just a frame from Arcane or something, but apparently it is confirmed through a leak who the VGU is. And I'll be honest,
what's a VGU?
Without spoiling anything, if you know the lore of League of Legends, you probably have a really good guess of who that might be. If you take into account...
What does VGU mean? They're trying to find a balance between a weekly 1-episode schedule and just doing a single day dump. I kind of like the single day dump, but it's true that it comes and goes like really fast, like the hype around it. Whereas when Game of Thrones were airing, for example, like every Sunday, it was like a ritual. You'd get together to watch Game of Thrones, and there's more of a community feature to it. And then everybody's tweeting about it on Twitter at the same time, and you can get trending hashtags going. Oh, it's a visual gameplay update. Did anyone tell you how cute you are? Don't call me cute. Weekly release makes them more money. Does it? Then how come they ever do the single day dump now?
Count who got skins during the first season, who didn't get them, and what characters are involved. It's really not that difficult to connect the dots. But as of right now, nothing is still confirmed. And yeah, there was also the leaked poster, which didn't really show anything, and people freaked out about that one too. So I don't think this is the last time anything leaked from Arcane before it got out. But here's the thing. People know that I hate spoilers. I have called out people for shitty thumbnails with spoilers in them on YouTube many times in the past. And if I ever get to cover a leak, it is because it is just spread everywhere. Or it is because Riot themselves officially released something too early. Briar's feet might be the funniest example here. But if it is something more hidden and something far more valuable, like...
I played against Briar the other day, and Uzagi was there, and he was like, oh, you're playing against the feet girl. I'm like, what do you mean feet girl? And then he told me the story about that when she got leaked and everybody was focusing on her feet, of course. Dank Lelouch with the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, enjoy your gifts. Anime funded from the West gets the full dump in Japan. It's rare they do. Yeah, weekly release is more hype and word of mouth and longevity. I agree with that. I'd probably settle for a weekly release, but as a customer, I think I prefer full dump. I think the 3 episodes a week is a good enough. Because, dude, it sucks when you're done with an episode and you're like, I want more. So it does cater to that side of me that's like, I want something more right now, but it doesn't give me enough to burn the whole season. Like, okay, you watched 3 episodes, now, you know, go do something else, get off the couch. You guys can send the videos in the reaction in the Discord server in the appropriate channel called Video Reaction.
Like Arcane Season 2, there is no way I'm gonna dive into that. And in fact, every time Riot shows something to the creators, I always tell them, don't spoil anything for me. And right now, apparently that became a little bit of a joke for the community manager at Riot, because whenever they actually want to show me something so I can prepare a video, for example, that happened with Swarm, he is always begging all the writers to not spoil anything. And that is simply because having my reaction be true just as it is for the community is the key. I don't really want to know something that the public eye doesn't know, because at that point, I'm not really part of the community. Anyway, of course, when something like this happens, there are always bunch of...
Who is that? Is that supposed to be Jin?
People who are defending leaks, with their main argument being that Riot is releasing the leaks themselves because it is a form of marketing. Yeah, I'm sure about that, buddy. Just so you know, it was proven many times in the past that Riot has never leaked anything on their own.
How devs feel about leaks and how Riot doesn't intentionally leak content despite how often it occurs? Does it happen often? Does it happen that often? Oh, that's Echo. Wait, I'm dumb. It is Echo. Jesus Christ, why does it happen so often? I've been reading a manga on site where it's just a few pages a month and it kind of sucks. Bro, mangas abuse... They abuse this technique. I hate it when... Especially during the fight scenes. It's like, you want to get to the good fight, but then week after week, it's just some worthless peon against... Not even a side character, it's like a side backline character. And you gotta work your way up to the good fight. But then a chapter doesn't even cover half a worthless fight. So you're just stuck there waiting week after week after week.
And every time it happened, it undermined all the preparation that went into their releases. And here comes a plot twist. The overall community around League of Legends and Arcane agrees. The vast majority of the players...
Oh, you're right, it is Echo, because he's holding a key. Wait. Is Key part of Echo's character?
Is actually avoiding the leaks. Now, sure, there is the occasional guy in the comment section asking... anyone has a link to that? But for the majority, it's fine. And it is amazing to see this kind of general reaction. Looks like I'm not visiting For You page for 3 months.
Yeah.
Can someone share...
Wait, Echo is plays with time. Yeah, so that could kind of make sense, like he's in lock-in time. I thought he had some kind of blade, though. We asked the dev if they're bad at security and they answered no. If you want a story on leaks and one of importance, you need the deep dive on War Thunder forum leaks. Little military info gets out due to de-measuring about who's right. Why? Is there a bunch of military dudes that play War Thunder?
Their blocked words list so I can adapt mine. Scummy bastards. Please don't make a video on that. Well, it depends on the context. If you value avoiding spoilers for Arcane Season 2, you should mute every character name on Twitter and tags on TikTok. If Victor gets a hexex scene, I want to watch it live, not from a crappy leaked screenshot. Thanks, Overly. So yeah, in general...
I really like the Victor character, I'm just remembering now. I also really liked Heimerdinger, he's so cute.
Things are not that bad. And surprisingly, people want to avoid the leaks, because they want to experience the show as it was meant to be experienced.
But when
and
is
as
it
to
coming
how
out?
well we will be able to avoid the spoiling, time will tell. I am pretty sure this is not the last time something got out, but rest assured, I am not covering any of that. I'm just here to overanalyze every single trailer and teaser. And in the end, throughout this very bad situation, nothing says it better than the reaction of the showrunner of Arcane, Christian Link.
What?
Just forget the part about the French guillotine.
Why is it taking them so long to finish the season? Are they doing it all in-house or did they pair with an animation studio for this? Wait, this is 42-minute long. Okay, maybe later. Collapse of DEI.
All right, today's video is
Oh,
once
it's
again
quiet.
about a topic that is pretty much always divisive yet perpetually discussed. And to be completely honest here, I'm getting really
I recognize this guy's voice. What is this channel? Oh, it's Upper Echelon. Okay. That's why I recognize his voice.
sick of watching people mischaracterize, misrepresent, and misunderstand this topic simply for personal or financial gain. I'm not going to make it overly specific on who those people are. That's not the purpose of the video, despite the fact I consider them grifters of the highest order. However, if I can provide a complete overview to the best of my ability for anyone who wants to understand these topics better, the negative consequences of that grift, shall we say, may get blunted, which is probably a very good thing in today's political climate. To put it simply, we do not need more division right now. We need accuracy.
Oh, Kershaw made a video on this and said he got some things wrong.
And critical thinking, which is currently, regrettably, in very short supply. With that said, let's officially get started. The real truth about DEI and bridge, which is a term you're probably going to hear quite a bit more often soon enough, in a world where these topics are typically discussed with overcharged emotional baggage and inaccurate assumptions.
What is
First, we need
bridge? Okay, is he gonna explain to me the basic of this? Because I actually don't know anything about this.
definitions.
Oh, what did I do?
At the top of the pyramid, the very top, is ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance.
Well, I've never heard
ESG
this.
is effectively a screening mechanism for investments where companies participating are expected to make ESG reports, which include everything from greenhouse gas emissions to labor practices, or even workforce diversity, which feeds into our next term. Underneath ESG, particularly inside the social arm of the framework, is DEI, standing for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which is an acronym that rose to prominence and swept across Western society for the past couple of decades, climaxing around 2020, I believe.
Practices and policies intended to increase the amount of cultural... Okay, I know this.
At the height of civil unrest in America. DEI refers to practices and policies intended to increase the amount of cultural diversity in a given workplace, often through incentive programs or additional hiring practices, specifically for that purpose. According to Built In, which is
Okay, the person in that footage is not typing a sentence, right? Like, that's what I'm focusing on.
Tech startup community that I'll come back to and reference later on, quote, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is an ethos that recognizes the value of diverse voices and emphasizes inclusivity and employee well-being as central facets of success. To bring those values to life, companies must implement programs and initiatives that actively make their offices more diverse, equitable, and inclusive spaces, end quote. Hopefully that about sums it up nicely. Lastly, for definitions, as an extension of DEI, we have BRIDGE, B-R-I-D-G-E, which stands for Benchmarking Race, Inclusion, and Diversity in Global Engagement, and is, quote, an institutional survey that explores diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, DEIA, metric structures and practices at the organizational level across U.S. registered organizations in the international development and humanitarian sector, end quote.
Okay, it's
Just
an
to
American
recap,
thing.
so we're all on the same page here. ESG takes place at what's called the investment level at the very top. DEI takes place at a company level under the social arm of ESG. And Bridge is, quote, from their own website, a comprehensive DEI framework to help companies identify, deconstruct, and rethink their own structural gaps that contribute to inequities, end quote. ESG at the top, DEI down below, and Bridge as a tool in the execution of DEI initiatives. That's a very basic roadmap. Shout out to everyone who made it this far in the video. I greatly appreciate you. Now we can move on to the more interesting stuff. Bridge, as an organization, has a board of directors with an executive committee and basic members from all over corporate America. There are some very big names here that people like to reference, but the gist of it is that this group is extremely well connected. Sephora, Discover, NBC Universal, Condé Nast, which for anyone who doesn't know is a massive media conglomerate that owns publications like Ars Technica, GQ.
That's the one that owns Vogue. I feel like that's the first one that they should say. I'm like, oh, they own the New Yorker too. Didn't know that one.
The New Yorker, Vanity Fair, Vogue, or even Wired. All of these brands and many more are represented in the Bridge board of directors, including a company.
Are you taking requests? You can submit it in the reaction channel in my Discord, which is discord.gg/Rima. But I might not be able to get through all of the submissions because there's a ton today, but I'll get through them eventually.
Company called McKinsey & Co. Bear with me here, because McKinsey & Co. is a global management consulting firm that is largely responsible for the rise of corporate DEI initiatives across the professional world. See, pretty much all of it traces back to a particular research paper of theirs from 2015 called Diversity Matters, which, despite being relatively unknown, especially to the vocal critics of ESG or DEI, or soon-to-be Bridge, is actually the inception point for pretty much the entire corporate America DEI craze. In 2015, shortly after the initial paper came out, the Wall Street Journal posted about its findings even, saying, quote, "A new study of 366 public companies in the US, Canada, UK, Brazil, Mexico, and Chile by McKinsey & Co., a major management consultancy, found a statistically significant relationship between companies with women and minorities in their upper ranks and better financial performance as measured by earnings before interest and tax, or EBIT." End quote. Also, according to Notre Dame University in a write-up titled History of DEI, the Evolution of Diversity Training Programs, quote, "A McKinsey report highlighted that companies with high racial and ethnic diversity are more likely to have financial returns above their industry medians. This business case for diversity prompted more companies to integrate DEI strategies into their operations, from talent acquisition."
This is why people integrated DEI? I thought they had to do that, or that it was part of, that it was just part of a marketing trend, sort of. Watching you from VExpo? Oh my god, have fun at VExpo, Hagfish! Yeah, money is what motivates everything in business, so that's what I thought. So this is just a survey that somebody put together.
Acquisition to customer engagement, end quote. And to really hammer the point home here, remember the tech startup community that I mentioned earlier when quoting the definition of DEI called built-in? Yeah, that very same article from March of this year, 2024, in a section called Improved Business Outcomes, cites a Forbes article claiming that firms displaying culturally and ethnically diverse.
It's not a legal mandate, but it's a corporate initiative. Yeah, I could see that. I could see most corporations apply this just because it kind of fits into the grain and or like the wave where everything is going. Especially during pandemic and after pandemic.
Executive teams are 33% more likely to lead their industries in profitability. The thing is, if you go check the article they cited, they being Forbes in this case, the actual research that they're referring to is the very same work from McKinsey & Co. way back in 2015. This time an expansion of it, actually, that includes over 1,000 companies, not just the initial 366. My point here, for anyone who's not able to follow along so far, is to showcase that incredibly divisive topics, ESG, DEI, and soon Bridge, have been almost exclusively built around the idea that more diverse companies are somehow more profitable. But what if I told you that the entire initial premise was wrong, and that the research was completely inverted in a way that...
So it's not because they want more equity, it's just because they think it's going to drive more profit?
Proves absolutely nothing. Let's read an actual section of the research paper, the one that seems to have started off all of this, called Diversity Matters. Quote, "Analysis of the data from the group of 366 companies revealed a statistically significant connection between diversity and financial performance. The companies in the top quartile for gender diversity were 15% more likely to have financial returns that were above their national industry median, and the companies in the top quartile for racial/ethnic diversity were 35% more likely to have financial returns above their national industry median." Exhibit 1. This correlation does not prove that the relationship is causal, that greater gender and ethnic diversity in corporate leadership automatically translates into more profit, but rather indicates the companies that commit to diverse leadership are more successful.
Okay.
The existence of the relationship is statistically significant and consistently present in the data, end quote. Just to be very, very clear, that's big. That's massive and huge. Claiming that companies with increased executive diversity are 35% more likely to have financial returns above their national industry mean is enormous. And taking this research on its face, it becomes abundantly clear why so many different companies began aggressively promoting DEI initiatives.
I doubt it's that simple. That's just my thought, though. I don't know. Like, it's like saying... I don't know why. I'm thinking of the stock market right now. It's like saying there's a rule, like an easy... People want just easy rules or templates to follow. And they think it's like a shortcut to some success. But I am sure that you could have a company that's... what did they say? Like, that has like the upper... establishment that's super diverse, that's not as profitable as another company that doesn't have, like, it could, or the other way around, it could be both. It's not because, oh, you just hire diverse people and then suddenly you're gonna have a 35% increase. It doesn't work like that. You probably gotta hire the right people.
And doubling or tripling or quadrupling down on the idea of increasing diversity by any means necessary. However, this is where things start to fall apart and where the entire house of cards comes crashing down very rapidly. ESG and DEI don't work. To be clear, I'm not saying that diversity is a bad thing. Don't get it twisted here.
It's like when people ask you, oh, what should I do for my YouTube channel? Do this and you'll get you'll get like a 30% increase in view. Change your thumbnail, and dude, it's not something that goes well that works for a channel is going to work for your channel. You kind of got to find a way that the things that work for you.
I'm saying that increasing diversity alone does not create a 35% higher likelihood
he's saying the same thing.
Financial returns.
Yeah.
First, for ESG at the top level, the investor.
Also, that's one study. Are they all basing themselves off of a single study? That sounds wrong.
Side of things. The entire ethos is just smoke and mirrors. According to research from Vox EU, which looked at ESG fund performance and investment returns, quote, as a final piece of evidence, we calculate the hypothetical returns a fund would earn based on the disclosed portfolio and compare them to its realized returns. In figure 2, we observe that in the 10 days leading up to disclosure, funds tend to underperform the portfolio they are about to disclose. This observation is consistent with the idea that, during this period, they incur meaningful transaction costs, as they adjust their portfolio to include more environmentally friendly and sustainable assets. However, following the disclosure event, we notice a shift in performance dynamics. Funds begin to outperform the portfolio that they have just disclosed, indicating that they are now holding higher paying assets than the ones they have recently made public. This trend is in line with the hypothesis that after the disclosure event, funds might replace some ESG assets with higher yielding but less sustainable assets, end quote. To simplify that, because a lot of it's boring, I know, ESG funds are not even holding assets that conform to their own ideology. These investment portfolios are most likely rearranging their assets before and after disclosure events, selling off stock in better earning companies so that their assets on paper, at least at the specific time of disclosure, will better reflect the ideology of the fund. Just smoke and mirrors. Second, DEI, with regards to that famous paper from McKinsey, is just completely backwards. Over the years, many academic publications have tried and failed to replicate McKinsey's findings, but an excellent summary comes from Econ Journal Watch conducted by Jeremiah Green and John R.M. Hand. From the conclusion, quote, our findings lead us to two main conclusions and an emphasis. First, we conclude that caution is warranted in relying on McKinsey's findings to support the view that U.S. publicly traded firms can deliver improved financial performance if they increase the racial/ethnic diversity of their executives, not only because we are unable to replicate the same statistically reliable association between firm financial performance and executive race/ethnic diversity as they report, but also because the structure of McKinsey's tests are such that by measuring firm financial performance over the 4 to 5 years leading up to the year in which they judge the race/ethnicity of firms' executives, the default direction of causality that McKinsey capture in the positive correlation they report is that better firm financial performance causes firms to diversify the racial/ethnic composition of their executives, not the reverse, end quote. Simplified, and all of you are troopers who made it this far because I know that this is ridiculously dry and a lot of it's hard to understand, but I appreciate you. Again, simplified. Successful companies are not successful because they are diverse. Successful companies become more diverse in the process of growth and achievement. McKinsey had it backwards. The real problem here is that correlation does not equal causation, a phrase that most people have probably heard of before in their life, and a fact that McKinsey rightly acknowledges in their own paper, but that hasn't stopped them, and pretty much everyone else who ever discusses the concept of ESG and DEI favorably, and soon to be Bridge as well, from heavily insinuating that correlation in this particular case does equal causation, resulting in a very widespread misunderstanding that scientific research has been established backing the idea that increased diversity through force of policy somehow increases the likelihood of outperforming industry average revenue targets. No such scientific research exists. The stone-cold truth of the situation is that ESG and DEI do not work. Investment portfolios structured around ESG hide the fact that they're not making enough money by holding approved assets alone, while companies exploring the effects of DEI are waking up to the fact that it has no financial benefit to them. If you want evidence of all this, try Microsoft as an example, who recently laid off their DEI team entirely, circulating an internal email that read, quote, "True systems change work associated with DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020, end quote. Or how about Zoom, who dismantled their programs as well, despite remaining committed to the concept of DEI. Google and Facebook also cut their teams associated with, in the case of Google, improving representation of underrepresented groups in leadership by 30% by 2025, saying, quote, "Our commitment to DEI remains..."
So there was like an overcorrection in 2020 and now they're just pulling back. They're still going to do diversity, but are they making a new department for it? The entire thing was not fired, just one thing or something?
At the center of who we are as a company, and yet these initiatives across the board have been slashed by as much as 90% in some cases. Corporate America, specifically publicly traded companies governed by stockholders that have a fiduciary responsibility to make more money perpetually, do not care about the concept of diversity. They never have and never will.
They're like integrated in HR? Yeah, they should have done that from the start. Isn't that HR's job in the first place?
They care about the idea that diversity could push their financial performance higher, or give them a realistically better shot at achieving financial results, which McKinsey strongly insinuated in 2015, doubling down multiple additional times over the subsequent years. However, after implementing these programs and dialing them up during times of civil unrest in particular, these companies are witnessing reality as they see in real time that the programs do not have a financial benefit associated with them. There's nothing wrong with the concepts of diversity, equity, or inclusion, so anyone...
Yeah, they probably realize, fuck, I'm paying these people more to put this program in place that I'm getting profiting from it. They're like, fuck that. I'm gonna make people self-regulate themselves.
Watching this who wants to somehow use this video as a demonstration that diversity is therefore a bad thing, don't do it, because it isn't, okay? That's not what this is about. But those concepts are not a causal factor behind higher revenue. As a result, corporate America is backing away from the concept of ESG, they're backing away from the concept of DEI, and that process obviously won't be instantaneous.
Could it be it's because it's becoming unpopular?
There's a number of consulting companies and diversity-focused initiatives still actively pushing for these things, because they make a great deal of money off of advising about them. But you can't influence the tides of the...
Is there a stream element alert list anywhere? No, I don't have the list out, but there are different alerts for different like segments of money, I guess. I think it's 5, and then there's one at 20 or 25. Wait, I can look actually. Yeah, there's one at 10, 25, 40. There was one at 50 and 75, but these were troll ones where I said like sus things, so I turned these off. There's a 50 with Elara. There's a 75 one that's an Elara voice line. The 100 one is Parrot Fortune, and the 150 one is the Giga Chat horse.
The ocean with a large bucket. And the bedrock imperative of these companies, for better or for worse, is to earn more money, which DEI in its current form does not help them do. Meanwhile, these topics in general have become a rhetorical battleground between internet
What's the marine one? It's the I'm horny one, that one. I'm horny!
denizens who mostly have no idea what the concepts even are, let alone where they came from. One side screams about how DEI is the driving force behind the total collapse of video games and any other industry that I'm a part of, and the other yells about how anyone who doesn't agree with them is a racist or a bigot, when in reality it's most likely just a bureaucratic corporate initiative born from a misrepresented research paper formed under a misidentified expectation that forcefully increasing diversity will somehow improve financial prospects, which isn't true, and will cause these initiatives to evaporate just as fast as they initially sprung up, which we see happening already as companies realize the mistake. The truth about DEI is a lot less scary than some people seem to believe. It's a lot less organized or conspiratorial, at least in my personal opinion, because it's really just a simple explanation of a claim about how doing this thing will make you earn more. And now that a bunch of companies are actually doing it, they're realizing, hey, wait a second, no, it doesn't make us earn more, so I better stop it. The video is kind of boring, I know that. It's just a bunch of raw information because people need more information in today's day and age, and a lot.
Thank you for the tip, Ice Daddy! That is the best alert. He commented on Kirsch's video. What did he say?
A lot less sensationalism. And I'm guilty of that too. A lot of people have sensationalist headlines and titles and video content and, oh my gosh, the world is ending. And
I mean, DEI is, it's in content creators' interest to push the DEI like nightmare ideology. And probably a lot of people don't want to hear that, but you guys are also the products. You're the products right now, my stream. And if I really wanted to farm you guys, I could really play into your outrage. I would tell you guys not to listen to any mainstream media because I want you guys to only watch my streams for every new source of information. And I make it sound like everything is super nightmarish and bleak and negative because that's what hooks people the most. So of course it's in the content creators' interest to, you know, talk about it. And I mean, sometimes it can be done in really entertaining way. And at the end of the day, you know, we're trying to get entertained. Now, the problem with YouTube, well, it's also a consumer problem. The thing is, because that's the kind of content that works, it creates a feedback loop where, you know, the content creators got to give the audiences what they want. But if the audiences didn't participate back, it'd be a different story too. So, I mean, the other thing is content creators might not fully, they might not be as not implicated. How do I say that? What's the word? Implicated is when you're like into, it's like a crime. They might not be so much into the topic, but because of the strong push for narratives, especially in video formats, it's gonna make it seem like they only want to talk about it. If that makes sense. Invested is the word. Thank you. It's like, if your whole channel is, because the way YouTube works is that it pushes you to be in a niche, right? Instead of being a well-rounded channel. So instead of, you know, maybe having some videos on DEI and some videos that are not so political, it's going to push you to only create like political YouTube videos. And I also think that that contributes to a one-sided narrative. It's like, it's forcing channels into a one-sided narrative. And I have more of a criticism towards the system and the algorithm than I have for content creators. Stop making horse jokes! Recommend Kirsha's response video. They aren't backing away from DEI, they're publicly backing down but expanding the responsibility for enforcement. To employee level, his understanding is flawed. I don't think his understanding is flawed. I think he just didn't dive so much into this. Because one of the things he said in the video is he didn't completely flesh it out, or he didn't completely talk about it, I don't think that negates all of the rest of the video. No, it's a 15-minute video. I mean, what do you want him to do? I'm not gonna like hyper focus on one thing. And it's implied. I mean, we had that exact same conclusion.
Again, I'm guilty of it myself, but I'm trying to go down the route of just providing information. That's much more interesting to me than sensationalist grifting, which I see a lot of on social media lately. So yeah, that's
a lot
what this video
of that.
is. Just an
That's
attempt
for sure.
at raw information. That's it. That's the truth about DEI, where it came from, how it grew.
The DEI is dying? He's just misinformed about stuff. Yeah, his thoughts aren't as fleshed out, but I really don't feel like watching a 40-minute video on DEI. I actually just don't care that much. I also think it's overblown. For sure. Like, the talks about DEI is overblown, and we're almost attributing DEI to everything nowadays, even things that shouldn't be attributed to it, if that makes sense. While there's a lot of problems that DEI has caused, not everything is about DEI, and I'm also a little tired of that talk. It does, because it points to the crux of which the rest of his presumption is that it is dying. Yeah, it does change the fact that he's saying it's dying, it's not dying, it's rebranding. But I think it's smart that they're publicly rejecting it, and they're doing it, they're making their employees do it instead. That's smart on their part. Not saying it's right, but it is smart. I don't know how they're gonna make their employees do it, but that's probably another video on its own, right? Okay, this one's for you, Kiwasa. Let's start. That video was kind of boring, no? They're abandoning the acronym. Yeah, that was my understanding of it. It's like they're abandoning the acronym, but I get that the way the video is framed and the title, it feels misleading. So I understand what Dark Lelouch is saying now. It's an interesting topic, but that video was a little dry. Yeah, I think I prefer the videos where people, like, this is what I mean, that it's way more interesting and entertaining to have a video that are like, from Ref, for example, that is like, this gaming studio is ruining this game because DEI. I'm like, yes, tell me more. Blake is like ... Let's talk about the countless gacha NTR controversies. Now, I didn't know there was that many gacha controversies. I thought that it would be... Well, I know there's some gacha controversies with the voice actors. I didn't know there was like other controversies. Well, apparently Sweet Baby Ink was an actual problem, but I don't know. I don't want to give my opinion on something I'm not that informed on. I can only give my opinion on how I feel the world is and probably why content creators do this. Oh my god, I legit thought this was a Muujin thumbnail. Let's talk about how horrible fandoms have become.
Now I know upon seeing the title, you might be thinking, yo, Sunil, yo, what the hell is this? Why would you make this video?
Huh?
And my answer to that question is, it's funny. So with that being said, let's talk about cucking. I swear, I will only make 3 Sneeko jokes in this entire video. So in case you do not know what cucking is, I won't be explaining that to you. But I will be explaining the various time gacha game players were sitting in that one chair, where their waifu was taken away from them, either getting lioned, being involved in a plot straight out of an NTR, or going off to play mahjong. And yes, you heard that right. Various times. Times where players have been outraged that their waifus are loving a fictional man outside of the main character has happened a lot.
Wait, this is a video about people being parasocial with the anime characters in games, basically, right? Hey, Maverick.
And in all honesty, I bet it's gonna happen again, which may dwindle my faith within humanity, but at the same time, at least we get to have a laugh about all this. Like damn near every Limbus Company player did when we read this review of the game. I'm dropping this game. PM clearly doesn't know how gacha work. All those early system-related blunders made me still believe, but releasing the alt form of the main girl being obsessed with another guy? Yeah,
What?
I've seen where this goes. I won't pay any more money for garbage like this. You better believe me, you will get an influx of all the scum of various communities flocking into your fanbase and draw as much cuckold porn of Faust and Sinclair and any version of themselves and Dante watching in the corner. Now, in case you have no context on what a Limbus Company even is, you may be thinking that the game—
Wait, Shark Chaos, are you talking about the Yeah, you guys didn't tell me about what's the comment he left. So he left a comment saying he hasn't watched it yet. He heard about Bridge through a post on the Kotaku and Action subreddit. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. You know, these big channels like that, they have people do research for us, and they get like script writers, and it's like the 15 minutes video, there's really not much you can fit in a 15-minute video, man. I don't think I've ever done a 15-minute video. It's impossible. It's super surface level if you do. Yeah, I mean, I understand getting a parasocial relationship with a content creator, but I don't really get the ones with... I don't really get parasocial relationship with video game characters. I really don't. Unicorns in gacha games can be as bad as gachikois and VTubers? Really? Bro, that's crazy, but also, why would you put like a fully fleshed out love story in a gacha game where everybody's supposed to be your husbando and waifu? Bro, I don't want some fucking romance in my gacha games. I'm trying to forget about all that. It can be implied, like a little bit of flirting, but I don't want to see two people kiss. That's gonna gross me. You know what? Maybe I am a unicorn. You know what? Maybe I am a toxic shipper.
Game drops some mega simp version of a waifu towards a male character that isn't the main one. Like if Firefly was head over heels for like Bootil or something. But that's not what happened. To put it as quickly as possible, as it finds a way to make this post even stupider, the game has this character called Cromer. She's obsessed with Sinclair, but not in a romantic way. Long story short, she's insane and wants to mind break Sinclair. Not in a yandere way either, mind you. More so in a I'll murder your entire family type of way. And for us gun identity, we're in a parallel world. She is in Cromer's position and is the one trying to mind break Sinclair. Now somehow, this person looked at this and went, man, I wish that was me. Keep in mind, Sinclair went through enough trauma to where detailing it will immediately get this video demonetized, and someone got jealous that they didn't have all of that happen to them. So to put this all in perspective,
it should have been me!
They got jealous that a fictional woman underwent the totally scientific process of becoming a version of herself in a different dimension, where in that dimension she was obsessed with making this German boy have more trauma than 10 prisoners of war combined. And they decided this was so outrageous to where they needed to make a post saying how they're dropping the game on the Steam page. Now, as you may have suspected, they did not drop the game.
So she's not obsessed with the other guy, she's like torturing him, and that guy was like, it should have been me!
Instead, after some months, they went on to say, PM learned from Enfos, and I am happy to play this game, praising how one of the female characters has that identity in which they are not romantically interested in a male character, and conversely, the dude isn't canonically interested in her. Which, I honestly don't have much else to really add. This is just, I'm glad they're happy. Now, unfortunately, within saying all this, you may think this is the deep end, that it can't get weirder than this. But what if I said we were still in the shallow waters? What we got right here is on the mild side of these stories. As the thing with this is it's more than likely a joke, but the other topics I'll be bringing up, unfortunately, aren't. Like Blue Archive and Mahjong Soul. A bit ago, the two games had a collab together, and the deal was Mahjong Soul will get some Blue Archive characters in it. On the other,
I don't know how to play Mahjong, but I'd play it. I want to play it now that I know Blue Archive made a collab with them.
side, Blue Archive didn't get anything new in its game, which probably did suck for the players who weren't interested in playing Mahjong Soul. And some were mad about that, but the big controversy stemming from this collab wasn't due to it not going both ways. It was about the fact that Mahjong Soul has a system in which you are able to riz the characters.
Oh,
that's right, you can give them gifts to increase their
feet.
bond level, and in turn you get
feet for free?
mainly new voice lines. But when you max out their hearts, you get to make a bonding promise with the character, which gives you alternative art with them, some emotes, and even more bond lines. Now, this is a basic romance system.
I want to play this game!
And some of the bond lines definitely go in that direction as well. And that is where the controversy lies. The fact that
oh, it's voice lined. Okay, I don't care about that. Never mind.
The game has a romance system, which meant that in this collab, the Blue Archive characters flew on the Lolita Express to Mahjong Soul, a game in which they will be swooned by that protagonist's Mahjong capabilities, and in turn be NTR'd from the senseis playing Blue Archive. Those who were outraged at this decided there was only one room for recourse, one action in which they could stop those children, their waifus, from being NTR'd. And that action was buying a protest truck, which has become commonplace whenever a gacha game has some controversy.
No
I
way!
swear to God, the owners of these trucks must be making a killing.
People buy advertising to complain about gacha games on trucks? Yo, I admire the passion. Like, I admire the commitment, man. But that's what? This is crazy. I don't know if I'm impressed or like shocked right now. I don't know. It's like I'm on the line. Holy shit.
Once rented out like every other week. But to translate the text on the truck, it says, Yostar, in an attempt to profit for themselves, collaborated in the direction of our dear students in a game that can mean almost marriage within the game. They are not moving on even after 10,000 comments from players and are ignoring the voice of the players. Gentama has a game that has a contract function, forcing our precious students to sign contracts with the players of other games, and even includes rather obscure content such as Valentine's Day chocolates and voices. Not only does this trample on the feelings of the entire student body, but it also destroys the crystal clear worldview of Blue Archive. We must not create this poll.
Okay.
Yeah, the translation is very rough, as the person taking the photo of the truck has evidently not upgraded their phone from when they bought the Nokia 7650, and I had to put the image into something to take the characters from this blurry pic and then put it through DeepL to translate. So it's a rough overview, but it shows why people were mad, so much to where they decided to buy a truck. And keep in mind, this is gacha game players we're talking about. For them to spend their money on something aside from gambling, that's how you can know some fucked shit is transpiring. But to be clear, a romance system is not the problem. After all, Blue Archive also has one. It was the idea that a player aside from the sensei, Blue Archive self-insert, would be the one to romance or grow closer to the characters. That is what made it seem like cucking, that a different player would be the one to grow closer to the students. And honestly, it's not like there was any big romance. Most of the bond lines are something you would say to a friend, but there is that small idea of romance behind them which pissed off evidently enough people for a couple thousand comments to be raised in protest.
Yeah, male on
now,
screen.
It's not like everyone was mad, as even though Blue Archive players have a fun reputation, most of them know it's rather impossible to be cucked by pixels. And from what I've seen, a ton of players were happy with the collab. Any outrage of it was either from Blue Archive getting nothing, or from the crowd which thought the affection system was the beginning plot point to a 20-page NTR dojin. But I bet if it was taken out, then no protest truck would have been deployed. which is why one game decided to remove their romance system entirely for a collab, Azur Lane. In case you don't know what Azur Lane is, then I wish you nothing but happiness in your Bible study group. So basically, it's Waifu Collector 9000.
Wait, how did that image made it through on YouTube?
Get skins for them, which somehow feel more rude than being bare-ass naked, and you can marry them with the O system. So when the creators thought about doing the Idol Master collab, they looked at the O system. Looked at how idol fans would go on a rampage if their favorite idol was even slightly rumored to have looked within the postal code of another man. Then thought to themselves, bitch, we good. And made the Tiara system, where instead of how the O system is, where you go to the chapel and put a ring on the ship, stamp some marriage paper, and rename the character if you want to, you instead open the fucking door to darkness from Kingdom Hearts, appear on an idol stage, flashbang everyone with the tiara, and then the idol pulls up saying, hey brother, I learned a lot underneath your tutelage. In my career, when I leave this place and have no further relations with you, I will be sure to utilize this invaluable knowledge. And you just unite with them as opposed to marrying. Which, as much as I make fun of the system, honestly, I don't really blame them for making it.
What the fuck? No, I want the ring. I want the ring. Where's the ring? That is way cooler.
It's smart as hell to not mess with idol culture. Brother, they dodged a nuclear bomb. Friend zoning all players was legitimately the greatest business decision they made in a waifu game, and it's—
They friend zoned all players? Shut up!
Wow, that ain't even a lie. It's like when Bang Dream, which is an idol game, decided to make a spin-off with a male cast of characters. The thing is, it was set in the same universe, so you could already imagine how mad people got when the idea sprung up.
No, whoa! Males in the same world as my waifus? Over my dead body!
Of their idol waifus being in the same universe as males. Which is why the producer of it came out to say, nope, they're in two different universes and the males will not interact with the female idols.
Yeah, it's on the metaverse timeline, you know? There's a bunch of different worlds, even though they happen at the same time. That's what it is. Trust, guys.
Then, yeah, the ratio speaks for itself. And this ain't even out of the ordinary.
Bang
Grand
Dream
Blue kind of went down a similar route. They did a collab with Love Live, and sure enough, some people got mad as hell since Grand Blue's got dudes in it, which meant the waifus will be interacting with males. Hell, the player character can be one too, as you have the option of being male or female in it. So sure as sugar, when the collab launches a pop-up display saying, in the spirit of the world of Love Live, we recommend changing the main character's gender to female when playing. So, happy belated Pride Month, I suppose? But it's in the spirit of Love Live to have the protagonist be female, as from what I've seen, there's not many—
they did a collab with another game, and the other game had male characters? Yo, this is like when different factions from Hololive collab together for like a tournament and people freak out. Because the male and females will be in the same stream. No way.
Male characters in the game. And honestly, that might be an understatement. So the way to help quell any outrage was to make the canon route only involve the female protagonist, and yeah, that makes perfect sense. I ain't really mad at it. Though to go in the complete opposite route from a game where males are as rare as goddamn worlds and harem, let's talk about a game that put a literal NTR plot in a story.
Ooh.
And in case you don't know what NTR is, it's basically Japanese for cucking. But yeah, I'm not even playing with you. A game made an official story that felt ripped straight from an NTR doujin. For Guardian Tales' 2nd anniversary, someone had the bright idea to craft this concoction that left everyone who read it completely confused on just why the hell they would even make it a thing. The concoction was the backstory for the 2nd anniversary's male hero. Here's a summary of it. Hero's master has died. They thank him for being good to him for the last 30 years, saying that he guided him during the time they were together, and if it wasn't for his master, he would have lost his life all those years ago. What happened all those years ago? Well, the hero was badly injured, lost a lot of blood, and possibly his ability to practice martial arts. He was on the verge of death. There he laments over failing and thought that he won't be able to continue with his craft. He's paralyzed and won't be able to move. Some robots pull up and want to end his life so they can put him out of his misery, but the monk makes the decision to perform surgery on him, with which the master sacrifices themselves for the hero, causing the surgery to turn him into a cyborg. We return to the present. The hero wants to leave, the master warns him against revenge, but he felt like some things had to be settled. You see, before he was injured, there was this martial arts competition, and the prize was being together with the daughter of the sect leader and fame across the land. Unbeknownst to everyone, the hero and the girl were already in love and in a secret relationship. But the hero wanted to use this opportunity to prove himself and announce their relationship to the public. So he goes in and defeats his senior in the finals, winning the tournament. but the senior couldn't admit defeat and managed to successfully frame the character and the sect leader for studying demonic arts. Now, because of this, the sect leader kills himself. Then the hero gets jumped by everyone else in the sect, and that is what left.
Wait, that is dark. It took a weird dark ending there. It's not just cooking, it's art. Yeah, I think some male gacha characters are cool. Like, there's some characters you want to roll. Like in Wuthering Wave, I like the guy that looks like Sephiroth. That guy is hot. I mean, I still prefer rolling for the female characters, that's true.
Left him almost dead and caused the monk to sacrifice their body to save him. Here comes the Sneeko moment. Hero returns to the sect to find his senior, who was now the sect leader. But everyone looked at the hero as though he was a monster. So to confront the sect leader, he had to beat down everyone in the sect. Now when he reached his senior, his love interest, the daughter, apologized and got on her knees, begging him to show mercy to the sect leader because she was pregnant with his child. And she didn't want him to be born into a world without his father. He realized that his senior won and the winner gets the girl and felt as though he lost all purpose and the reasoning for his revenge. It was all for naught. So he decides to follow the monk's words and give up on revenge. He leaves without doing shit to the sect leader. Returns to the monk and decides his purpose is to save others, etc, etc. Time passes, monk is old and died. He left some golden beads that the MC now carries with him. What the fuck were they thinking with this shit? Goddamn. It's like The Last of Us 2 but for cucks.
Yeah, but she does... Wait, where's the NTR in there? I don't get it. Did she hook up with the cyborg guy? This is Guardian Tales? Wait, so does the pregnant girl leave with the cyborg guy, or he just stays? No, she cut the cyber guy. Oh, that's his love interest. That's the cyber guy love interest. And she is pregnant with the sect leader's baby. Dude, what the fuck is that dramatic story? Is this like a soap opera? Oh, I see. Oh my god. What the fuck? What? I never expected that.
See, the prior stories were things that were blown out of proportion, but this one is just a literal NTR plot put within a game. And I won't hold you, I think it's a bare minimum okay backstory, but they really didn't need to say the girl got fucked, possibly in a non-consensual way, by the guy that framed the NC as a villain, caused the monk to turn into a cyborg, and, oh yeah, made the daughter's father, self-log off from the server called Earth. Granted, the overall idea that someone does all this evil and doesn't face anything from it is weird for a story, but it portrays the idea of this person is a forgiving soul. So I suppose it works well like that. But again, it just makes the hero sound stupid, as it makes it seem like they'd forgive.
Okay, the sect leader guy doesn't look nearly evil enough. He looks like a nice guy, and then they tell me all of his evil backstory, and it's too much of a gap moe, man. Parasocial relationship and idol cultures are toxic. Both are possessive of the girls and people like me. I don't use males because I hate rolling for them. Yeah, they're definitely less hype. That's for sure. I don't like rolling for them too.
Give a serial killer if they just remembered the monk's words of forgiveness, which I don't know if that's really the greatest character trait to have, but whatever. Though the pregnancy is deadass some shit you'd hear from an NTR hentai, so with that being said, you can possibly imagine that the players weren't happy. Due to this, the team behind Guardian Tales apologized.
Is there often pregnancies in NTR hentai? The princely looking guy is almost always a twist villain, especially if they're even slightly incooperative. He would need way more jawline for it to be a prince villain.
Apologized and gave the players 30 pulls as compensation. and the writer of it went off to buy 20 NTR dojins and donate to their hero Sneaka with the money they got from writing the event. But I do understand people disliking this backstory as it feels really poorly written, to the point where I'm surprised it was approved. So out of all dramas, this one was the most understandable. However, what we got right here is the opposite, a completely unreasonable situation, in which someone's work was thrown away due to players feeling outraged over a ship they showed interest in. And it comes from Punishing Grey Raven, where half a year ago Kurogame hosted the Chinese New Year live event, in which one contestant's work was to be shown off. However, when the time came for the event, her work was nowhere to be found. Now, the reason for its disappearance isn't inherently due to the video itself. After all, it was this very wholesome video focused around Bianca, as the creator of it just really loved her. There wasn't any problematic content in it and no shipping content to be found. I mean, the video was verified and set to be shown during the event. However, in the past, the creator has made art and a fanzine about Bianca being shipped with Watanabe, a male character who isn't the protagonist. And that was the reason as to why their work was not displayed in that official event.
Are you kidding me? Because they've made other fan art in the past?
Their posts regarding having their work removed, they stated how the submission did not break any rules and how it took a month to make. Also, any ship content they made in the past has been tagged for people to easily block those tags to avoid it, and they stated how much they love the game and Bianca, as some were saying she didn't really care about them, basically tourist energy. Now, in response to this post, she was told how she deserves to die, among other hateful comments, as they made shipping content between a female character and someone who wasn't the main character, which I doubt I need to say just why that is so stupid. But I feel it's even worse in this case for two reasons. One is that someone's hard work was thrown away because they liked a ship, not anything even related to the work itself. But the other reason I find it to be bad is, the Punishing Grey Raven community is incredibly chill. Like abundantly so. You rarely see any drama come out of it. Straight up, if I said this same situation but with Hoyo characters, as there have been many examples of something similar, you wouldn't be surprised. Deadass, if I came up to you and asked, did you hear about the recent Hoyo drama? Most people who know about gacha games would reply, which one? Natlin, Nuvalet, Mo's and Sundays VA, Zenla Zone Zero's official Reddit? Which one are we referring to here? Such dramas are really commonplace for Hoyo stuff, and the PGR community is at large one you don't see many dramas for. Yet, here we are. This same idea of a fictional character liking another man was enough to stir the pot and cause outrage, even when it was an individual getting their work shown off in an official event, with those works being removed from any shipping-oriented stuff. Just the mere fact that they were known as a shipper for that pairing was enough to throw away their work.
That's sad.
Now, I don't need to say all this within the regard of painting the PGR community as the golden child, how communities should act, and then Hoyo stuff is basically just Garbodor over there. As with these videos, I like to always make the distinction that the people I bring up do not paint the entire community, nor am I saying this to try and display Kurogame as some devil company. After all, you've seen the outrage generated from these situations. Can you really blame them? Needless to say how the creator probably would have been harassed more if their works were shown off in that official light. Though I only state this distinction between Hoyo and Kuro to say that regardless of the community being either known as toxic or not, this same idea of being outraged at the fictional characters liking someone who isn't the protagonist persists. Across all of these various games, the same idea is what drives the controversy, barring Guardian Tales, as that's a pretty distinct outlier. So I want you to think about why that's the case. Why so many people are mad about this irrespective of whatever community they are from. And as that idea is in your head, let's talk about the biggest drama involving a fictional woman being cucked from the Fedora
There's
wearers,
more?
Girls Frontline 2, which is a game where you rizz up guns.
What?
I'm not even playing with you either.
But they're
the
girl
characters
guns.
are named after guns. We got good old M4A1, A91, STG44, MP5, M99, and Makarov.
Okay, but
Wait,
it's
is
not
this
the same. They're girl guns. Hello.
Fucking Call of Duty ripoff? Regardless, if you ever see a post on Twitter saying fuck your guns, open up the quote retweets to see the entirety of Girls Frontline Rule 34 were posted
That's
there.
good.
But what if the Rule 34, or within this case official story, is NTR? That is what brings us to this drama. So Girls Frontline 2 is on the eve of releasing, but 2 months before it drops, players smell something fishy about Type 95. The general premise of the plot is that Girls Frontline 1 happens, at the end of it, Commander and Dolls go their separate ways. 10 years pass by, and bam, Girls Frontline 2 pulls up. Naturally, players are curious about what their waifus have been doing during those 10 years, so we get to see some stories about them. And here's how Type 95's, now named Diane, opens up. Idol Diane is preparing to sing for a big celebration, and Mr. Raymond is the person in charge of the celebration. On a certain day, Diane is humming a song softly, and the tune is slowly filling the air. Raymond's footsteps stopped involuntarily. The melody of the song seemed to have a kind of magic, which made Raymond feel excited. Taking a deep breath, suppressing the fluctuations in his heart, he cautiously walked to 95, warned her in a low voice that this place was dangerous and should not be stayed for a long time.
Oh no, not the low voice.
Suggested that she leave the city as soon as possible. Now here's the first problem. Raymond felt excited. You see, Raymond's a man.
Yeah. Nah.
And Girls Frontline 1 had no system where you can marry dolls, in about the most dilapidated church God has ever witnessed. Though you can marry your dolls, and in the 10 years where she is away from the player character who possibly married her, another man is feeling excited about her. Based upon this video's track record, you may be able to witness the incoming car crash like he got future sight. But we fast forward a little and turns out someone wants to bomb the place Diane and Raymond are at. However, Diane finds out that Raymond is the one carrying out that bombing. She confronts him, reminds him of the tenderness of his mother. I'm sorry, is that Sigmund Freud calling? But when his plot is revealed, Diane stops the police from taking in Raymond Thundercock over there. Then the two collaborate, stop the other terrorists, and the police arrest his ass anyway, as he sings to her. Fast forward again, she finds a letter from Raymond that expressed his love and reluctance for her. And that's the end of it. Funny part is, this backstory is about 1.5 hours of Diane talking.
Oh no.
And Raymond is mentioned 66 times. Yes, people really counted that. And the commander is mentioned 0 times. So some players looked at this and went, damn, these hoes can't even stay loyal for 10 years. Christ, my homeboy Aaron's got a point. I feel for his ass. Now the cherry on top, or the piece that causes this Jenga tower to really crumble.
Because this guy doing the video is pretty funny. Suno, oh my god, it's a small channel. He's doing really well.
Was that the CN player base fucking loves Type 95. Apparently it's a standard issue rifle in the Chinese armed forces. Basically, just imagine how Russians are with the AK-47. That is how they are to Type 95 from my understanding. Also, it finds a lot of use in anti-terrorism operations, which is funny because Raymond was basically plotting that out. So Team Mika sees the outrage and decides to Thanos snap Raymond out of existence and replace him with a woman, then rewrite her story for those 10 years. And honestly, even if the plot was kept the same but with a woman having romantic feelings for another woman, waifu players wouldn't really feel threatened. So they would have been safe on that front. But some other fronts, aside from the cuckener Type 95 over there, caused outrage. Like how the comments from the other dolls rub players the wrong way, with Spaz12 having said, "Freedom at last," when it came to leaving Griffin, the player character's group. Which was weird as Griffin treated the dolls much better than society at large did.
Yeah, the thing is, if it was 2 girls, then that's totally acceptable, but male and girl, no!
And apparently, the commander says that everyone left him until he was the last one left in the group, instead of mutually deciding to go their separate ways. But the drama doesn't just stop there, as after Raymond Thundercock was evaporated, a little change in Diane's design was found, where she had a pendant on her wrist.
Uh-oh.
Now you see, it has a thunder symbol.
No!
The now Thanos man was named Raymond, and the first character in it means thunder. So in other words, Raymond Thundercock is coming back with a post-mortem cuck session in the shape of a pendant, but Mika responded to this saying, as for the pendant given to Diane by Groza, it will be revealed in future storylines, so please stay tuned. Now in Russian, Groza means lightning, so that's why it looks that way. And does that explanation make sense? Yeah. But does that explanation matter to those who feel like Raymond Thundercock still has influence over their waifu? God no. So due to the influence of Riz Master Raymond Thundercock and the plot feeling a bit forgotten from the prior game, Girls Frontline 2 gets dragged through the mud. Its review bombed, people send tons of hate messages to Mika, which you can see in this video linked below. Big CN content creator shit on it, memes are made, CEO apologizes, game launches, pulls in less first day revenue than Path to Nowhere and Reverse 1999. Which, whilst those games are really good, their revenue numbers aren't exactly insane. So to have a game of this caliber pull in less is unideal. And oh yeah, someone made an NTR Dojin with Diane getting together and railed by Raymond's thunderous cock shortly after this. In it, she got pregnant from him and showed in great detail what happened during those 10 years to the commander. And you may say, oh haha Sanal, funny joke, but it's not in English so there's no way it's true, Lamau. No it is, I know because...
Related but off topic, there's a fan that makes some great songs for Girls Frontline. Name is Storm Fury. Also stars 15. M4 SOPM mod 2 for the win. I assume you play that game. Holy shit. Episode 3, The Return of the Thundercock.
Because I personally translated it. To make sure it wasn't a meme people were perpetuating due to this drama, I went through each page of Raymond and his Thundercock.
Nah! Half of these words didn't even make it on my hentai tag tier list.
Translating them all. And you know what? If my cranium need be cursed with the knowledge of what transpired in those 16 pages, then yours does too, goddammit. But that is the Girls Frontline 2 Raymond Diane NTR drama. There's also more reasons why people were pissed off at the game, like apparently deleting it in your root directory could also cause everything else in it to be deleted. Which it's fixed now, but yeah, that's pretty bad. But I don't care to get into it as it's not in the scope of this video, as the scope exists to just talk and joke about people getting cucked by literal pixels. But I do need to say that, jokes aside, this topic's actually kind of sad. Not because people's waifus have another collection of files they're interested in, but more so because people are legitimately invested over all of this. They actually feel cheated on. Within my videos, I've stated over and over that, end of the day, being greatly obsessed with what transpires over fictional work is not reason to throw vitriol at another human being.
I mean, it's like, it's sad. It is sad. I'm gonna expand on this in a sec, but I mean, usually people that are really invested in parasocial relationships are people that are really lonely. That's like the one trait they have in common. So people that have grown up, usually in their childhood, with little to no friends, and they spend a lot of time online, developing like internet relationships or being in the internet culture. But if you are in that culture from a very young age, it's not really representative of how people connect with each other. People act so differently online than they act in real life. Hey, thank you for the Twitch sub, Enko. Welcome, welcome. Offered by Spoon. Thank you so much, Spoon. Thanks for the gifted sub.
Like, being mad at the person who ships Bianca and Watanabe is stupid to me, as those characters aren't real, so there's no reason to make an actual person.
Spoon Hoa. That's you. Thank you, Spoon.
Feel like shit over it. However, I find a distinction
really
needs to be made when saying that, as I don't want to convey the idea that fiction and what's presented in it is worthless, that it inherently holds no value, as I find that's just stupid to say. I mean, think about it. How many people want to become writers after reading Lord of the Rings? Shit, I recently read Damien, and aside from all the gay jokes I can make about it, that book was genuinely a masterpiece and opened up a lot of introspection for me. Even outside of literary classics, there's been some games I've played which cover topics and presented ideas that have helped me through very tough times, and most of y'all can probably relate. So don't say these are pixels within the regard of diminishing what a story can mean to a person, as fiction rightfully holds a lot of power within the real world. I just hate seeing actual people get harassed due to others being upset over something fictional. Like, for example, Honkai Impact 3rd had an event where the women in it were wearing bunny suits.
Yes.
The problem was the event only took place in the global server, so some CN players viewed it as an NTR event, where the girls were dressed up as Playboy bunnies, basically prostitutes, and sent for just the global audience to enjoy. Someone got so mad at that to where they tried to assassinate the founders of MiHoYo over a perceived cucking event. So when someone takes their love of fiction to that extreme, then I need to make the distinction that, homie, they ain't real. Much to my dismay, I'm still trying to go my wife who's in a test tube. But even though I poke fun at all these situations, at the core, I'm not inherently mad at anyone who feels cucked in them. More so, I feel sad, and I feel as though a greater conversation needs to be brought up about loneliness and how that translates to people being obsessed with fictional characters. Though, when it comes to that conversation, I'm gonna keep it 1,000.
That's kind of why I believe that doing BFE and GFE content is controversial. And for some reason, it's almost more accepted in the VTubing culture than doing content of a controversial nature. Like, it is preying on loneliness in a way. There is for sure some kind of criticism that needs to be levied at this. I'm just not sure to what extent. It's kind of like the way I see it is, it's like with alcohol, you know? You can be an alcohol store, but are you responsible for the person that's had too many drink, that becomes an alcoholic, that starts destroying his family because of his addiction? So there's part of it that's a user responsibility, and there's also a part of it that's also a content creator responsibility to a certain degree. I just don't know exactly to which degree that is yet. I think loneliness was always an issue. Internet just made it apparent. I don't think it just made it apparent. I think it made it even more powerful. And well, there's a lot of things that are contributing to loneliness. The lack of a third place for people to hang out. Like when we were young, you'd hang out at the mall, or you'd go to the movie theaters. Now people don't really go out of their house or hang out in places like this. Now people hang out online in Discord servers or in forum boards. This is where they find communities with people that have similar interests to them. But, you know, when we were kids, we'd just go to a park and we'd meet other kids there. Yeah, they hang out in MMOs, exactly. I played Girls Frontline before. The shotguns were introduced into the game, but I dropped it when I realized it was censored in the West. No, not censored. Yeah, arcades was another third place. And also, well, there's just a lot less people are, you know, getting married in general, and there's just way less of a sense of community. So of course there's a rising epidemic of loneliness. I think in Japan there was like a statistic that they're all single person household. You know, even if when you live in an apartment with other people, when I lived with other people, I had like a very social lifestyle, and every day you talk to people, which is a lot more healthy than what I'm doing now, living alone. Now imagine if more than 50% of the population is living alone, all in like their separate tiny apartment units. That's kind of dystopian in a way.
As with you, I'm only 21 years old. I would not even come close to saying that I am in a position of maturity to really tackle that problem. But I can say that within my videos pertaining to topics such as this, I always have the same perspective.
What's other people? Okay, now I don't remember what I said. Even when you're a VTuber and you get married to some male idol, it's still a single household? Is it an internet marriage? Is it an e-marriage?
Of live and let live. At the end of the day, if someone is not harming themselves or another, then I don't have reason to really interject with what they're doing. So if someone has a fictional character they really love, then hey, I don't got a problem with it if it makes you happy. I might make jokes about it, and from my perspective, I feel like obsession with a fictional character can be damaging. Like when it's taken to the extreme of people getting married to fictional characters. I would say that there's some worries.
Leave that guy alone, he's happy.
But most people don't exist within this extreme. If you have a fictional character that makes you happy when you see art about them or them appearing in stories, then yeah.
Be right back.
I'm glad. If there's something that makes you happy and you're not harming anyone else for it, then no one should take that away from you. So the people in this video who are mad at, let's say, the Blue Archive girls getting rizzed up by the Mahjong master, it's stupid, but end of the day, it's nothing really serious. However, those who threw vitriol at people over the Girls Frontline situation or the PGR one, I feel like a lot more needs to be addressed, as there's some problems to view fiction within the regard of something as unimportant as my waifus, to hold that as a basis of hating real humans. Fiction rightfully holds a lot of power, and if loving a character makes you happy, then go off, enjoy yourself. Just never take it to the point of being at another's throat.
I'm back. Sorry, I ordered some coffee and it arrived. I love opening the door. Yeah, mail at the door. No, don't worry, guys. I didn't come in contact with them. I just opened the door and there's like a little box with food waiting for me there. I fucking love this concept of Uber Eats. You don't need to talk to anybody. You just have food magically appear in front of your doorstep so you don't die of famish. Yeah, I ordered a cold brew. What? No straw? That's bullshit. Seriously? Oh yeah, there is a straw, thank God. Would've got a med. No, why does everybody... You're the second person that adds sausage on a pizza. You guys add sausage on pizza? That's fucking weird. It's a cold coffee. It's a cold coffee. Come on. I want to have my cooking show and be like the Gordon Ramsay of VTubing. Sausage on a pizza is normal? This is my reaction. Whatever reaction he's having right now, this is my reaction to you guys thinking this is normal. Pineapple on pizza fits. It fits. And a deep dive on why Hell's Kitchen was successful or something. I want to watch a deep dive on Hell's Kitchen. This is a clip. We should actually watch this in the Discord server. We should make it a watch party. Like we could watch the whole season together or something. Okay, I found this and I was intrigued by the thumbnail. Well, somebody posted it in my Discord actually. I didn't find it. Oh yeah, okay. I guess Italian sausages are fine, but I wouldn't put that on my sandwich. Sorry, on my pizza.
Wow.
Wait, these are fish?
Hey, my boy. Wait, what the f are you
In
doing?
an egg?
And why is this on YouTube? Today we're going to talk about a topic which made me so angry that I'm not even gonna do an
It's
intro.
quiet.
Instead, I'll have my cat P2 do it.
Oh, I want a
Alright, now that
cat.
I've used the vulnerable cuteness of my pet cat
I'm thinking of getting a cat, but I don't know how much work it's gonna be to take care of it.
to attract all of you guys' attention, there has always been something so sinister and inhumane about people nefariously using animals for personal gain, which we as a human species are seemingly best at. Don't believe me? Just watch this 3-minute video which has earned an estimate of $800,000. And it's a
What?
video where some douchebag just puts like these innocent pet animals in a small plastic egg I couldn't even fit
Ugh.
my hand in.
It's gross. Okay, okay, one of the fish is dead?
Now, imagine 5 ducklings being pressed together in
No.
just one of those eggs. Well, you don't have to, because he does that right here.
No!
He has
Oh
like
my
an
God.
entire SeaWorld aquarium worth of fish smushed together in these eggs, but then drops them into a pool that is somehow even more
Ew.
shallow to swim in than the claustrophobic prison eggs he was first keeping them in. Please
Hey,
help me.
yo.
It's dry.
Yo! The fish isn't completely covered in water. Okay, the eel is gross. Isn't it gonna... What do eels even eat?
Driving me insane. This goldfish is barely able to submerge in the pool. You can clearly see it struggling to move and breathe. What? Didn't want to invest the extra dollar to use one more bucket of water to at least prevent these fish from experiencing suffocation? Oh wait, no. They were already suffocating in the eggs you didn't even bother drilling an air hole in. Because unbeknownst to some, just like me after an entire day of filling my room with carbon dioxide while being chronically online, fish also need fresh air so that they can extract oxygen out of the water they swim in. And if that's not bad enough, he just dumps these 5 ducklings in between all of the barely submerged sea creatures, so they obviously try to eat the fish as well as poop everywhere, and there's not nearly enough space in this water for these fish to prevent duck shit being smeared all over them. A viewer
Ew.
actually sent me this video a while ago, and the first time I watched it, I remember it had been a long time since I felt both as physically angry and repulsed watching a video on YouTube. Not just because of what was going on in the video itself, although that's already bad enough. What really tipped me over the edge was seeing that this got 172 million views and was uploaded to YouTube Kids, which is supposed to be a highly regulated version of YouTube with...
I mean, all I'll say on this is that not every country is there in terms of animal care. Like, a lot of the animal abuse stuff that I see comes from China, but also, like, when I travel, like, the people, you know, taking pictures with a monkey, and all the tourists can take the picture of the monkey. I mean, okay, maybe the monkey is treated well by his, like, owner, but there was also sometimes on the beach, they have these dolphins really close to the shore, and they have these nets all over, but the area isn't big. Like, dolphins are supposed to be able to swim all across the sea, like across miles of water, and they're just trapped there. And I think one of my family member, or one of the person that I was that we made friends with there, was like trying to explain to one of the guys that was doing it how wrong it was, and she said he could tell that he felt bad about it, but at the same time, that guy's also trying to feed his family. It's hard. Hey Chad, I need help. I'm ordering and eating Pizza Hut tonight for the first time. I don't know what they have over there that's good. The cheese crust pizza is good.
Strong enforcement when it comes to content safety. I doubt that a close to 200 million viewed video with 455,000 dislikes.
Yo, there's so much dislikes. I mean, apparently these plugins are not very accurate, but still, that's a lot.
Never been reported before. In fact, I've reported the video on 5 separate accounts over the past month, yet it's still on YouTube
Doesn't
Kids
matter.
because nothing has happened.
Why?
But so knowing that the person behind this channel
Yeah,
had
but Taiga's channel is gone, so that's dumb.
generated the equivalent of a 1-bedroom apartment in the middle of Manhattan in ad revenue just from a 3-minute video of him suffocating some fish and ham-fisting 5 ducklings into a plastic Kinder Egg, and got away with it on a more strict and regulated version of YouTube. I had a hunch that this was just the tip of an iceberg of animal abuse I didn't want to investigate, but had to since I have too much self-respect to see an animal be abused and look the other way. And after a month of research, I'm glad I didn't look the other way, because I was right. That video was just the tip of the iceberg. The social media animal abuse iceberg.
The animal videos rescue. Yo, I've clicked on so many of these thumbnails. Like, the thumbnail is so clickbait. It's like, cat is rescued, homeless cat rescued, tons of fleas everywhere. And you're just like, it's horrifying. So you want to click on it. At least they fixed those animals up, man.
Yep. Social
Wait, cat
media animal
drowning?
abuse has gotten so bad that I've had to make an iceberg on it. If that surprises you,
Okay.
it also surprised me, yet here we are. Now, even though I think all forms of animal abuse are bad, I had to create this iceberg because there is a clear distinction in between every level, and the deeper we go...
Oh, I get it. The sound effect is them censoring the word abuse.
Either the more extreme,
Because YouTube hates that word. We can't talk about anything on YouTube.
secretive, or inhumane the abuse gets. And the more I hope the channels I talk about get permanently banned. If you have a keen eye, you might
Wait, there's shorts of animals being hit by no, stop.
have
Stop.
noticed that I also colored the iceberg red. This was done for 2 reasons. Because screw you, global warming. Stop turning my iceberg into lava. And because red is the color of anger, the predominant emotion I felt throughout making this entire video. Anyways, let's start with the iceberg. Your iceberg. exemplarized from their innocence after watching this entire video. Level 1 of the iceberg is probably known to some of you because it's pretty popular these days and has been plaguing the surface of social media for years. And that is unusual, exotic and wild animal clout influencers. These are creators who use undomesticated, exotic or wild animals for views and
but the monkey's so cute though. Wait, is this? Oh, that's somebody else writing cruelty on it.
Process will often abuse them.
But Freddy really doesn't want me to hold him. He really doesn't like the grass either. I think it might be a little bit too cold for him. This is why we wanted to wear your coat. Hey, just relax.
Because, well, how do you capitalize on your average cat and dog if there are already more silly cat and dog videos on the internet than there are atoms in the observable universe? The answer is you don't. Instead, you buy a wild or exotic animal like a capybara, illegally ship them across the border, and then force them into princess clothing.
Wait, this guy has a... Isn't it the same influencer that had a monkey? Does he just have a bunch of animals? Get a fucking monkey, like Pecora's fucking monkey. Isn't it illegal? I thought it was illegal. But what about having a monkey, but what if you have like a big plot of land and he just gets to stay outside? Is that better?
Put a ring on that thing and treat them
Put
so
a ring on that thing? What the fuck?
Every time they do appear in one of your TikToks, they tend to uncomfortably pin themselves against the wall as far away from you as possible. And then, you'll earn hundreds of...
I wouldn't pet that thing. I feel like it would bite me. I'd be scared of bringing a monkey in my house. I feel like it would... Monkeys are really jealous creatures. I feel like it would attack my dogs. I wouldn't want them anywhere near my pets. I'd be scared because... Okay, maybe they behave in front of you, but what when you're gone or something? They're way more intelligent than dogs. Nah. Nah, I wouldn't risk it.
Thousands to millions of dollars in views. Unrelated to this extremely specific example, this is Kyle Thomas, one of the most followed and richest influencers in the UK. And he got to that point through the constant uploading of wild and exotic animal TikToks.
Wait, why does he have so many? What does he do with those animals after a while?
Right here we have my pet Brazilian striped knee tarantula. Right here we have my pet tree frog.
Disgusting.
His name is Pog. This is one of my 2 pet sugar gliders.
Okay, that's cute, the sugar glider. Wait, isn't that what Pecora has? Doesn't she have a sugar glider? They are feeding the baby monkey cake? Why? Monkeys are terrible pets. Sloth are way better. I don't think a sloth's a pet, but you know, if you have like a private forest, sure, it can hang out there probably. I don't know if it'd hang out in my house though. It's probably stinky.
Monkeys, mini zoo, make sure to like for a part 2.
Which as expected earned him a ton of money as well as a ton of controversy. From mistreating them for views.
Psych, just kidding, my new catchphrase is, I don't give a fuck!
Despite appearances, tarantulas are actually very fragile and they fall from just a few inches.
Why did a tarantula jump? Here in Brazil, a family lives with 10 tigers. What if one day the tiger just flips? It's like my dad was telling me that one of his friend, it's more like he was talking about rural countries and stuff, and he had a chicken coop, and he brought this dog. The dog was supposed to guard the chicken coop, but one day his friend goes on a walk. He comes back, the dog killed every single chicken in that coop. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, animals are unpredictable sometimes. He had been raised to defend them, and one day he just meowed enough. What kind of dog was it? I think it was a German Shepherd.
Could injure a tarantula's sensitive abdomen.
No, wait. I think I asked that question, and They didn't know exactly. It was like a mixed stray dog.
Even prove fatal, even when falling on top of a soft surface. To purchasing land to build an exotic sanctuary slash zoo.
I'm building my very own zoo, and I've just bought the land to put it on.
Just to end up selling the area again and then stuffing all of the animals he was gonna put there in his backyard shed. The controversy which infuriated me the most was with his capybara that I mentioned earlier, which he and his mom...
Honestly, I think spiders are disgusting. I know some people think it's cool. I don't even feel pity for it for jumping. I'm like, ew, it's just gross. Ugh. I hate bugs. I hate bugs so much.
Did illegally smuggle across the border from England to Northern Ireland and just made millions and millions of TikTok views out of. Because it's just so cute and definitely doesn't look extremely distressed in every single one of his TikToks. But you know what they say, what doesn't kill you might make you TikTok famous. Except in this case, the capybara fucking died 2 weeks later. Yeah, which is heartbreaking because that's what happens when you buy a wild animal without being able to take proper care of them. But since it can make you social media rich, there are many creators like Kyle Thomas. Another example is...
I gotta take a moment to process this. I want to look into that influencer that he was talking about, like his controversies and stuff. Yo, that shit is crazy. I feel like I want to do a deep dive on it now. You should visit Michi, Dan. Why, does she have a lot of spiders? Look up Siegfried and Roy. These guys ran a show with tigers for 40 years, but in the end a tiger killed one of them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Wild animals can't be pets. Like, you can't tame nature. It's like, okay, I think wolves are so cool. And you know, there's this trope where people would love to have a wolf pet. Bro, you cannot have a wolf pet. Trust me, I would love to have a wolf. I think it's so cool. But that's just not how it is. It's just that you just can't, man. There's dogs that look like wolves, and there's dogs that are like wolf mix. Just get that. Don't go for the real thing, okay? They're not pets. I looked at some oh my god, my stomach. I looked into why some animals were more domesticated than others, like cats, dogs, horses. These are the big three, I'd say. And now that he's going to talk about zebras, I also looked at why zebras weren't domesticated, because donkeys and horses have both been used by humans for centuries. And the researchers in that paper, they said that there's a few elements that make it so an animal is like becomes a domestic animal, but most of it, the number one thing is its temperament. And they're like, oh yeah, oxens too, you're right. Basically, yes, exactly. TLDR, zebras are assholes. That's why they've never been domesticated. They just don't have the temperament for it. They're completely wild. They'll bite you, they'll kick you, they'll do everything. Meanwhile, you know, donkeys are so calm. My dad used to always tell me, if you like attach a donkey somewhere and you leave him, he's not even attach him. If you just leave a donkey somewhere, he's not even gonna move. And they're built so sturdy. And horses, what I learned, horseback riding, for some reason, like horses, if you focus them, if you control them well with your body, you don't even need to make a sound, by the way. You just control them with your body, with like the right pressure here and there. They will do things they would never do on their own. Like, they will jump over shit they would never jump on. They will go the extra mile for you if you tell them to do it. It's insane. And the bond between dogs, cats, and humans is also, I think it's very interesting. They're like, we're like made to be together.
Sammy Grant, because she got caught using her TikTok exotic animal petting zoo as a front to advertise her breeding and selling.
Were these fennec foxes? Fennec foxes are so cute. I always thought my doggy looks like a fennec fox. Should we take your white highlights as zebra Jason and I'll try to domesticate you? Yeah. Donkeys are used by some farmers to fight wolves? Is this true? Cats have bonds. I've seen some cats like reassure their owners when they're sad. Some cats act way more cuddly than others. Some other cats are more wild. Some cats like act like dogs. There's a lot of different cat personalities. If you like this topic, I recommend you look up Rusha's fox domestication experiment. Fascinating stuff. Oh, is it gonna make me sad? Douglas Diaz! Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships! Guys, enjoy your subs! Enjoy. I hope you guys like them.
Of exotic animals. Because for every TikToker buying wild
Fennec
animals
fox.
for views, there are hundreds of viewers who watch those TikToks and think to themselves, "Aww, that's so cute."
Oh my god, that's me! Am I guilty of participating? I'm like, oh, it's so cute! It's intriguing because you never see these animals usually. Dogs were the first animal we ever domesticated at least 30,000 years ago. Isn't that insane though, to think that? Like, that's just insane. Dogs are so cool, man. I love dogs.
Can I have a wild, untamed feral fennec fox, please? To then buy one and get completely ripped to shreds, because in reality they don't like being pet, cuddled, or handled by
You will lose your hand.
their owners. And Cammy tries to hide behind the excuse of trying to educate her viewers on how the animals she shows in her TikToks are wild and aggressive and shouldn't just be bought, while simultaneously showing the cutest footage she has of that animal and selling them on her website.
What?
Let's talk about everyone's favorite animal, the fennec fox. Fennec fox.
Wait, so this is her house? So where does she raise all of these animals? Nani?
Get around 2 to 3 pounds. They do not get big at all. Wise, these guys are very destructive. They will rip holes in your couches, they rip blankets, they love ripping up their toys, they will definitely dig holes in your wall. They are very, very hyper. They keep going and keep going. They always run around. I barely see them sleep. If they do sleep, they only sleep for about 10 minutes and they go back to being hyper. Also, do not recommend these guys as pets.
This little guy's name is Vtuber, also known as the average house cat. Don't let this lazy sack of cute potatoes fool you though. At just a touch, he'll bite your arm off, light it on fire with its laser eyes, and do a ritualistic dance around its charred remains to offer your soul to Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Who's a little murderous maniac? You are. If you want to buy one, you can do so on my website. Don't do it though. Don't you do it. Also, please don't buy any of our zebras, camels, kangaroos or wallabies, reindeer, sugar gliders.
She sells camels? I don't... Is it shipped? Like, what? How does that even work, man?
Hedgehogs, fennec foxes, horses or donkeys, or sulcata tortoises. 3 of these types of animals are either vulnerable, endangered, or close to extinction, by the way. But hey, after being exposed for using her exotic petting zoo as a front to breed and sell exotic animals, you can't buy anything on it anymore. Unless if you just use their contact us button, then you can just be a moron who can't even spell the names of the animals correctly, but they'll still offer to sell you some anyway. So she's still breeding and selling wild animals, just with one extra step of having to press this chat button. And she's also planning to use her animals as an attraction for her new Airbnb.
So a lot of you guys have been asking about our overnight safari experience where you guys get to...
I would never let strangers near my animals. She's gonna put it in an Airbnb. I hope there's a person present at all time. Yo, people do stupid stuff to animals. They feed them shit.
stay the night with all of my animals. We will actually be opening up next spring in 2024. So here are the cages.
Okay, keep in mind, chat, that we're still at the tip of the iceberg. That means it's gonna get worse. Oh man.
We will be having all different types of exotic animals. So this big cage will actually be the monkey and lemur cage, and you guys will get to see this right through your very own window in one of the rooms that you guys
Why
stay.
not make it outside?
So you guys will get to see the lemurs run, jump, and play constantly.
Those endangered ringtail lemurs are going to love families with kids screaming at them.
Honestly, you should unleash the lemurs on the kids. Now that's something I would pay to be in an Airbnb in. I hate kids. My cat acts like a guard dog whenever there's a stranger animal on our land. My cat is up in their face and doesn't let go of them. Oh my god, your cat is so cool. I'd want a cat like that. Man, my dog, my dog is supposed to like find rodents and stuff, but once I was in a place and there was a mouse and I told my dog to attack it, and he just peed himself in fear and then went right next to the front door and started shaking near it. Like, my dog is actually useless. Where can I get a pet, Rima? She's cute. No, I'm a wild animal. It's a small dog.
1,000. Papa! I made the monkey freak out. Well, not now, Timmy. Daddy's busy with emptying your college savings account.
Yeah, college.
Because you had to break that Airbnb glass, and now our cleaning bill will force us to get a third mortgage on the house. Thanks, Timmy. No college? But I'm 18, now it's gonna go next year! Yeah, I know. 302,000, So yeah, this entire TikTok trend is just popularizing owning wild and exotic animals as pets, which is boosting the demand of illegal wild and exotic animal trade. And I'm not saying that this is...
I did find a TikTok like family that owns a really big ranch, and I've only experienced the ranch that I go to for like horseback riding. And their ranch is really fucking nice. My ranch is scuffed as fuck and dog shit. Like, there's mud everywhere. And there's, it's not that big. I mean, there's a lot of pasture, but there's, like, no grass left anywhere because the horse ate everything. But their ranch was, like, clean. Inside, it was all clean. It was all, like, rocks and cement. And then outside they had like thousands of miles of pasture. It's crazy. And they have a lot of sheeps and cows. Like, they had farm animals, sheep, cows. They had a donkey and they had a lot of horses. It was kind of cool. No naked cowboys, unfortunately. It was missing that. Our ranches in the Northeast are small but highly mechanized and specialized. Oh man, that's kind of my dream, to like get a ranch like that one day. I'd want it to be clean though, like the ones, not the one I go to. There's too much mud there and a lot of insects because of the mud. There's like flies everywhere. Like, if I'd go right now at this time of the year, the place where I have to go get my horse, there's like flies buzzing everywhere, like small flies. It's actually crazy when there's a lot of heat. Yes, I know you're a male version of Melody. Thank you, Jackie Forrest. Yeah, please leave some grass for the other horses. That's why people... Do you guys know why shepherds, like in those foreign countries, you always see them like herding their goats herds and stuff in the streets? It's because they're bringing them to a place where they can eat grass. Because if you leave the goats in your enclave, you'll never recuperate that grass. Like, it's gonna take so long to grow back up, so you're always gonna need to bring them new food for them to eat, and it's gonna be super expensive. But like, if you're a noob shepherd, you gotta know where to bring them. if you're a noob shepherd, you're gonna bring them into places, and they're gonna start like trying to eat like others people apples and their trees, or they're gonna destroy people's garden. You gotta know where to bring them. I didn't, bro. How did I not know this? Listen, I grew up in a city, man. I didn't know about this.
It's directly to
Yes,
influence.
wait, how do you guys know this? I thought I was teaching you something new.
Fault. I mean, that would be insane. Because Cammy herself breeds and sells these animals for profit. Yeah, they're clearly glorifying owning wild animals more so for views and personal gain than they do so to educate their audience. There are many more of these influencers. A friend of mine, Shira on the Wall, actually made a very in-depth video about these exotic animal TikTokers and in much more detail. I highly recommend checking it out after first finishing my video. I'll leave a link in the description because I want to talk about the next level of the iceberg in much more detail, since those haven't been addressed by other creators. Like from level 2 and onwards, the creators behind each channel are irredeemable pieces of shit. Should have their channels instantly banned, all of their possessions taken away, and put on an animal abuse registry. After hearing all that, you're probably not surprised to hear that level 2 is called short animal kids content.
No, not
which,
that shit.
Definitely isn't foreshadowing a deeper level called long animals kids content. Now, with short animals kids content, I'm not referring to those cute pet compilation videos.
Yeah, that
Many
is
of those
cute.
are actually wholesome, so those are fine. No, what I'm referring to are channels, like, remember those Squid Game hamster channels from a few years ago?
Player 101 eliminated.
Which got exposed for their extremely abusive behavior, forcing hamsters through dangerous obstacle courses even though they were clearly distressed.
Which this hamster was falling is pretty high for a hamster. It was it looked like a foot to 2 feet.
Well, is there like a mattress underneath, and the way the camera's angle, it looks higher than it actually is, or was it actually that high?
Which for a tiny
It
little
could be
hamster
fake.
is a
They're dumb. Like, all of these channels, they're dumb for doing it out. Like, just put a fucking green screen and fake everything. It's cinema. Why are people putting humans and animals through torture for a video? Just do like Hollywood and fake everything. The fuck?
large drop.
And after outrage and thousands of reports, YouTube did nothing. They did absolutely nothing.
Cool,
in fact,
YouTube.
would you be shocked if I told you that this has gotten worse? Like at least 100 times worse. Like now we kill our animals and feed them poison on camera while advertising all of this to kids. Worse? But yes? Well, don't be. Because that's exactly what Animal HT does. You might recognize the channel from the content that I showed at the start of this video, and even though that was already quite extreme, that was actually one of their less abusive pieces of content, because Animal HT commits a wide variety of animal cruelty on both YouTube Kids and regular YouTube. For example, you know, those egg opening videos, which they have many of.
I hate
if
crap.
they're not opening plastic eggs with animals trapped inside, they often make their baby monkey open chocolate Kinder eggs, which they then feed to their baby monkey, their duckling, and their puppy.
Like actual...
They're
Wait, what are they feeding? The chocolate?
feeding chocolate to their baby.
Well, you're not supposed to feed chocolate at dogs. My dog once took like, I had a chocolate chip cookie. I left it on my coffee table, and I don't know how. My dog is actually a cunning little shit. Like, he pretends he's stupid, but he's not. But there was a piece of paper underneath, and he pulled the piece of paper until the chocolate cookie on top of it fell to the floor, and he ate that. And I found him after he had finished eating the cookie, and I freaked out. And I brought him to the emergency, but he was totally fine. There wasn't enough chocolate to actually toxify him. I called my dad. I was like, "Dad, my dog ate some chocolate. Is he gonna die?" My dad is like, "He's gonna be fine." I should have just listened to my dad and saved like a $90 veterinarian visit.
Baby monkey, duckling, And
yeah, milk chocolate isn't that bad. This seems like a lot though.
Now I probably don't have
Hi,
to
Jessica.
explain just how lethal the theobromine and caffeine that's in chocolate is for dogs. But what you might not know is that that's also lethal for most other animals,
Really?
including ducklings and baby monkeys. Yet you still have people defending them in the comments. How is this dog actually eating chocolate? Dogs are not allowed to eat chocolate. They might die. You must be careful. And someone responded with, "It could be a different breed." Oh, it could just be a different breed. Yeah, of course it must be one of those chocolate immune dogs that they invented yesterday. And not only do they feed all of these animals literal poison on a weekly basis, but they also feed them sodas such as Coca-Cola, which I couldn't even get an official result using Google, probably because no one alive
No one's
is
ever tried
stupid
that.
enough to even contemplate giving their baby monkey a highly caffeinated sugared soda. Except for the creators behind this content, of course. As a last resort, I had to ask ChatGPT, which said the following: Coca-Cola contains ingredients that can be harmful to their health, including caffeine, which can cause restlessness.
You're just not supposed to give processed food or foods that are really oily or really buttery or really, you know, anything that you've applied to the food that made it change is probably not good for animals. Like, they just think of what they would eat in nature. That's probably what their dietary routine should be.
Increased heart rate and other health issues in baby monkeys. Sugar. High sugar content can lead to dental problems, obesity, and diabetes. Acidic nature. The acidity of Coca-Cola can damage their stomach lining and overall digestive health. Baby monkeys require a diet appropriate for their species, which typically includes mother's milk or formulated milk. And as they grow, they can start to eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, and other foods suitable for their species. And I doubt that the other suitable foods include candy, ice cream, popcorn, pizza,
What the
M&Ms.
fuck?
And hey, we might not be allowed to give them Coca-Cola, chocolate, or candy. So how about we do all three in the same video? This amount of sugar almost guarantees that this baby monkey already has or
okay, it's not even good feeding that kind of food to a human. Imagine a monkey.
will get diabetes. And it's not just the either unhealthy or poisonous food they're constantly feeding these animals in their videos to attract more kids. It's also just what they're forcing these animals to do, such as them surrounding their ducklings with crabs, then force their baby monkey Bonbon to rescue the duckling, and I'm pretty sure they just straight up killed all of the crabs. And by rescuing, I mean have their monkey Bonbon grab the duckling by its beak and then run away from a giant, badly CGI'd crab carrying the duckling by its neck. Or this one scene where they wanted to fake this little duckling being born out of an egg. Of course, they didn't want to go through the actual effort or time of filming a duckling being born, because then they'd miss out on an opportunity to commit animal abuse, which is clearly their passion in life. So what they did was, well, they grabbed some eggshell and they rammed this duckling's beak through it. And there are so many more scenes like this that I just don't want to expose you guys to. Except for one, which still haunts me. And the only reason I'm showing you this is to show you just how horribly inhumane and evil this channel gets. Which is this scene where they have their monkey Bonbon lay in bed and it's sleeping, and on the surface it's so cute. Until you see just how unresponsive Bonbon is. They grab its head. Bonbon doesn't respond in the slightest. And eventually you see them do a close-up of Bonbon's eyes drifting hazily away, and suddenly you realize, oh my god, they completely drugged this monkey just for this one scene. Which is just... I'm sorry. YouTube, I'm sorry. I know that they've made you tons of money with their estimated revenue of $13 to $36 million. So I know that you don't want to press the ban button, but when a creator poisons, abuses, and drugs animals in front of kids, I don't think that there is a single excuse you can hide
that eye shot just said everything. What the fuck?
Behind for not banning them. But if you do end up...
The only time my dog ever took meds was for his operation. And he was so sleepy, like he was so out of it. I called the vet the next day and I was like, I've never seen my dog like this. Is this normal? And they were like, oh, come back to the vet. We're gonna reduce his dose. It broke my heart to see him like that. Like, I know he was like recuperating from an operation, but no, it breaks my heart to see animals like being sleepy and like sedated. I hate that. Animals do not let you handle them like that. Yeah.
Banning
Jeez.
them? don't forget about the 19 other channels that are doing the exact same thing, but
Really?
on level 3. Long animal kids
No.
content, parentheses movies.
There's
Did you
more?
know what's worse than 3-minute, 20-second videos of unadulterated animal abuse? A total of over 10 hours of it every single day over the span of 19 different channels owned by 2 different networks, who are abusing at least 2 baby monkeys.
Rima, I bought you some hay and brush for your May and also had a hamster. She was an escape artist. She kept getting out of her cage. My dog's an escape artist. He keeps running away when I bring him to my family's house. He like crawls under fences and shit.
Monkeys, among other animals, to achieve all of this. So now on top of all of the previous mentioned abuse, now you also have overworking them, and you're raking in millions of dollars while doing it. And Animal HD is at the head of one of these 2 networks, which I noticed after having watched countless of their short 3 to 4 minute videos. But then I started looking at their more recent 1 hour plus videos. They upload every few days. And luckily I don't need to go into these 1 hour plus videos themselves, because they're the same as the shorter ones, except worse, because now the visible abuse spans over more than an hour at a time.
Is this legal, like in the States and stuff, to conduct such things to animals, or are they filming this in other countries?
So because of having watched so much of their content, I guess YouTube thought I was raving over this monkey getting exploited and treated like absolute shit. And so they started to recommend me some other channels. A whole lot of other channels. And I found out which networks they belong to. Now I could make this long drawn out sequence of how I cross-referenced all of these channels I found, checked every publicly linked email, every business reference in the description, and then used LinkedIn to track possible linked organizations, every tag used on their videos, the similar look of both the video environments and animals. But I don't want to, because fuck these channels. I just want to show who they're allegedly tied to. Allegedly. These channels all allegedly belong to Animal HD, which I did try to reach out to get more information, but sadly they never responded. And these channels all allegedly belong to the Kudo network, which is part of Future Media, a Vietnamese media company, and as you can see on their webpage, they feature most of these channels on there. And I don't know if this is just a translation error from Vietnamese to English, but I find it insane that their About Us page literally states, "Our products mainly exploit content on YouTube." They're not hiding anything. I can't imagine the horrific torture every single one of these animals had to go through to even be able to obediently work tens of hours a week. And then also see them get abused for every daily upload? Well, that shit just makes me fucking angry. YouTube, please do something about this, because right now, I'm almost ashamed of the fact that I work for you. Anyway, fuck every single one of these channels. I hope the people that are knowingly abusing these animals never find happiness in life. If I could, I'd lock them up for the rest of their pitiful lives. But if I were YouTube, I'd give them $1 million. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'd give them $5 million.
What the fuck?
You've probably noticed that I am pretty worked up right now, and, you know, I gotta continue this video. So, to calm down, I've heard that the best way is to watch cute kitten videos. So let's check out this one.
Okay.
Huh.
It is
Okay.
cute.
Yeah. Biting the cat's ear again.
Oh, she's biting the cat. I thought she was kissing
Okay, I
it.
think you're actually hurting the kitten.
Wait, she's biting the cat's ear? She's not kissing it? Give it some real food. What the? Yeah, I know. Just wouldn't it? Isn't it the same appeal to just feed that monkey bananas or like oranges or fruits?
Again, is this all you upload, you biting the ear of your kitten? They're clearly in pain. How many videos of this do you have? Jesus Christ.
What?
I guess this is level 4, secret cute animal abuse. Yeah, so while on levels 2 and 3, most teenagers and adults would notice how cruel the content is just from a single video, on level 4 the abuse seems to go unnoticed, with barely any dislikes. Maybe it's because these creators mainly upload YouTube shorts, so you might have like one of them pop up in your feed every few weeks, instead of watching one Animal HT video and have YouTube instantly think that you're some sociopath who now wants to watch nothing else. I mean, with such little exposure, I can't blame people that a 10-second short where a silly lady nibbles the ear of a kitten might seem cute. But if you go to this channel called Meow and Sunny and scroll through all of their 355 shorts, statistically 80% is not her softly nibbling the kitten's ear, but painfully biting it. And once you notice that, you also realize just how uncomfortable the kitten gets with every single upload. And 206 more shorts if you count her second channel, Old Man 442. But once the bubble is burst, do you see just how miserable this cute and innocent kitten is? This looks like a well-nurtured and joyful kitten. This, however, looks like my parents when they first found out that their son is now a full-time YouTuber. I'm pretty sure it's like a literal form of torture. And I don't think content like that is acceptable. Neither is this guy who uploads cute rabbit videos where every few days he'll upload one of, I don't know, him breaking off overgrown rabbit teeth with pliers.
No! Stop.
Or him luring rabbits into a scary trap for views.
No!
I want to state that I don't think that level 4 is necessarily worse than 2 and 3. They're all awful in their own way. The reason that one is lower than the other in the iceberg is because level 4 is more obscure and because it seems as if very few people actually notice the abuse here. Although I think everyone would notice it in level 5. The X/Instagram gutter. This level is so foul, so horrific and disgusting that I'm literally not allowed nor want to show you any footage of it. This will also be the only time that I call a Twitter X, just because it has unsurprisingly gotten way worse after Elon took over. This is mostly very graphic content that just isn't allowed.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter used to have a reporting system and they got rid of that whole team. It's all automated now, so you literally can't remove any posts from social media anymore unless somebody explicitly makes a like I'm unaliving in Minecraft joke or reference.
Some might know what I'm talking about just by me saying the word Blender. If you do, then I'm sorry that you had to witness that. I really don't want to go deeper into this. The only reason that I bring up this level is 1, to finish the iceberg, and 2, to prove a point just how disturbing it is.
Wait. They put animals in blenders? Oh god. The high heel animal abuse stuff, I think I've seen like a slide footage of that when I was young, and it just... I still remember it to this day. It shook me. It shook me, and you know what? There is a study that they've made where it's much more likely for people that abuse animals to abuse other humans as well. There's like a correlation there. And it's usually for a personality type that likes to take advantage of weaker creatures than you. It's like a crime of opportunity. So be absolutely mindful and wary if you ever meet somebody or somebody that mistreats animal, you know how they are to human. That it's a huge red flag. It's the biggest red flag.
that for animal abuse to be banned on YouTube, your content has to be at least the animal equivalent of a Saw movie. That's a social media animal abuse iceberg. I know I kind of forgot to write jokes for this video.
Wait, so the iceberg, does it start from mild to worst? I felt like the girl biting the cat's ear, or like nibbling on a cat ear, should have been higher than the people forcing the monkey and the hamster to go through Squid Game and shit.
But I just didn't feel comfortable adding too many silly skits and comedy in a video about a topic as serious as animal abuse. So instead of giving you the occasional badly timed joke throughout this video, I will give you the satisfying opportunity of reporting every channel I talked about in this video from level 2 and on. I'll put all of the links in a Google Doc and share it in the description. Team YouTube, if any one of you are watching, I literally did the investigative work for you. You can check out all of the channels for yourself and simply press the ban button. The reason that I'm not including any channels from level 1 is because I feel like most of them still care about animals and have the possibility to change, but are currently just misguided by clout and views. While every channel from level 2 and onwards are just irredeemable pieces of trash that should never be allowed to make content again. Also, if you know...
I mean, I've seen some, like, TikToks where the people were, I think they specialize in animal rescue, especially for exotic animals, and one of them has like a monkey, and it's really cute. They rescued the monkey and now he just like lives with them. They feed him fruits and stuff. The videos are really normal. The video that we're watching right now, yeah, they're all in my React submission. I'll link it in... Oh, I gotta link it in both chats.
Know of any other channel or creator committing animal abuse that I missed, definitely leave them in the comments below so I can then retroactively add them to the report list. This is probably also the only video ever where I will not do my outro again. Feels weird to do on a video about animal abuse. But if you did enjoy this video or...
Wait, a lot of the rescue videos are staged. One of them was poorly edited and it showed them putting a puppy's head in some foam and then threw the dog in a mud pit so they could then rescue it. Dude! That is so messed up. But yeah, you guys should join the Discord server. We have a great community there if you're not in there already. That is so messed up. That video made me angry. That was a really good video. It begins. New York City thieves start raiding restaurants. Uploaded 2 weeks ago, a journalistic report on how New York City restaurants are in danger. Alright, let's check this out.
Video shows what's starting to look like a pattern of armed robberies at outside restaurants. Police are trying to figure out whether the holdups are connected.
So a new disturbing trend in New York's ever-evolving sea of crime has emerged. And even though police have no leads since the crooks targeting these restaurants all escaped on mopeds, this is the type of crime that happens so quickly and is so easy to pull off that experts say it's only going to get worse.
The thieves are demanding watches, wallets, and cell phones.
The video we're talking about shows men moving around a dining table and scaring people.
Oh wait, that kind of robbery, like they're robbing the clients in restaurants.
One of them had a gun, another had a knife. Police say they got away with $200
I've seen that guy
in cash
before.
from the register and
he does good videos. I feel like yeah, that guy, I got a deja vu. I think I've watched some videos of him before.
5 iPhones from customers.
They're using crimes of opportunity where they're just basically grabbing purses or handbags off chairs and running out.
Yeah, surveillance video shows a man toting a gun. He's demanding customers here to hand over their watches and wallets. Detectives are now looking into whether or not the same men robbed customers at Carbone in Lower Manhattan.
Is there one thing in particular that you think is leading to this?
Well, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of the laws that have been passed that have basically tied the hands of the police.
Officers are now required to record the race, age, and gender of anyone they approach.
It slows officers down from going to a scene immediately.
Overall robberies are up 5% citywide compared to the same time frame last June.
If you go out to eat in this city...
Bro, it's so stupid that they're making... I don't know, man. It's been an issue for a while now in the States that there's like an increase in robberies and stuff, and I feel like no one does anything about it. And the people that work there, it's just too dangerous for them to intervene. It's not worth it.
Your waiter might be replaced with a robber. Now, the police say they're not sure if these incidents are related, but what nobody's talking about is that all of these incidents are related to the fact that this city does not punish crime. And here, if you steal under $1,000 worth of stuff from any store in town, you'll suffer no consequences because that's a misdemeanor, which has created a huge problem because for the last year, stores like Macy's have been getting robbed regularly, which is why everything inside is now chained to the store itself. And what this means is...
Then why wouldn't you go rob then? It's like free. It's free money.
Thieves need easier targets to steal from. And our money-hungry crooks, they're not looking at stores anymore. Oh no, now they're setting their sights upon the rest of us as we chow down on bagels in the middle of the West Village. Because our phones, wallets, and handbags make us walking dollar signs to these thieves, who might even be lurking among us as if they're just regular people.
Bro, people still steal phones? I feel like that was a thing when the first iPhone came out. Everybody's trying to steal your phone. I was in the subway once and somebody tried to grab my phone, but I had like a quick reaction. I pulled it away and the guy just freaked out and he started running away. I was like, oh, just went on about my day like nothing happened. I'm too quick. Too quick. You gotta be more agile if you're gonna try to rob me.
Not just at restaurants, but also at the grocery store or even on the subway, which itself is no stranger to violence and crime, and now looks more like a military occupation zone because of the high levels of...
What if he had a gun? Listen, he points a gun at me, he can have my phone. I don't give a shit. Just keep it.
Police doing bag checks, and the presence of the National Guard. Which brings us to the real reason why we've now got a crime wave above ground targeting restaurants just like this. There simply aren't enough police to keep us all safe at once. In fact, New York City right now has as many police as it did back in the 90s, but the population of the city has grown by over 1 million people since then, which is a recipe for perpetual crime. Because when all the crime underground started, every available resource was sent down there to stop it, leaving all of us up here utterly defenseless, easy pickings for criminals who can steal everything we have in seconds. So here we are at Carbone, a famous restaurant in New York's West Village where thugs recently targeted its patrons who were eating outside. Now, this place has a high-end reputation. It was started in 2013. Celebrities eat here. And a USDA Prime Porterhouse for two will set you back almost $300.
Jeez.
And that's what makes this place an attractive destination for criminals because they know everyone eating here can afford the food and is probably also dressed to impress.
The video we're talking about shows men...
Why... Don't these places have bodyguards? I feel like they do. They have like a doorman and that's usually like a bodyguard. I mean, fuck, they have a doorman, they have a bodyguard and security guards at H&M and Zara. Why can't they hire one for those restaurants?
Moving around a dining table outside, and apparently they're demanding cash, they're demanding wallets. Detectives are now looking into whether or not the same men robbed customers at Carbone in Lower Manhattan, allegedly stealing a $100,000 watch. Police believe this could...
So this span of robberies has happened over the last couple of weeks. And before we get into the details of how these criminals operate, as well as the testimony from...
Can the doorman be armed? Well, probably not, but it's any robber... Okay, robbers look for easy praise. If they feel like there's gonna be any kind of resistance, you're probably gonna dissuade like 90% of them already. That's why... Oh yeah, really? Doorman's gonna be armed? Okay, I didn't know that. But this is why just, you know, walking really with a lot of insurance or like being like a built tall guy just makes you really not likely target for these kind of robberies.
Terrified patrons of all of these places, it's important to understand the one thing in common they all have. First, these are popular places to eat. In fact, so many people want to eat at them that not everybody can fit inside the restaurant. That's why you have these massive outdoor dining sheds like the one behind me that is pretty much a restaurant in and of itself. Look, it's got air conditioners and stuff in it, tables inside. The bagel shop down the street has people sitting outside. But the issue is, here you are all by yourself on a public sidewalk in the middle of New York City with no police anywhere in sight. And these restaurants and businesses, they don't have security guards.
Yeah, but there's people around it. No, people commit crimes in broad daylight in front of other people.
Oh, it's just you get your food and you can eat outside if you want to, and that's on you. And this is a safe neighborhood, so it's kind of alarming that incidents like this are taking place here. But once you understand why these criminals are picking these places out specifically, it'll all make sense. Especially when you realize that people eating out in New York City as a big group are utterly distracted and not really thinking about personal safety. But there's a much more frightening reason why criminals are looking to target people specifically on the streets.
Robbery is not on the menu here at Marlowe & Sons in Williamsburg, but that's exactly what some outdoor diners got. You can see the customers give up their belongings before the gunman takes off on a scooter.
What? So New York City has a massive moped problem right now, and the thieves, a team of 2, were riding one of these mopeds, which is how they were able to escape so quickly. Now the drivers will wait in the street with the engine running just steps away from where people are sitting, and then the passenger gets off. And in the video that we're looking at here, the passenger was the one who had the weapon and who went around to each person at that table and asked for their valuables and then got back on the moped and escaped. Now observers say restaurant crime has a lot in common with the other types of moped crime we're witnessing, where thugs quickly approach unsuspecting New Yorkers as they're walking down the sidewalk, take a valuable, and then ride off into the night. But you see, that type of crime, it's a crime of opportunity because you have to be on your bike riding past somebody who looks like someone that you would want to target. But at a restaurant, there's a whole bunch of people sitting outside with their guard down. It's perfect for criminals in a city that's not willing to protect its residents. On top of that, people at a restaurant, they're sitting down, they're on their phone, they can't get up, they can't run away, and they're dressed well most of the time. And no one at any of these places is looking for trouble. And what's sickening about all this is the logical...
You're out there with your heels and your little dress, you're not about to run after somebody in a motorcycle. Not in the US, Rima, the amount of guns proliferated in that country, nobody's going to risk being shot over a wallet. I didn't say you had to contest it, did I?
Progression of unchecked robberies that happen on the street. Now, restaurants aren't even safe places, which is exactly what witnesses of these events are saying on Reddit. This discussion covers all the recent restaurant robberies, and one user writes that it all happened so fast, most people weren't even sure what was happening. On top of that, all of these crimes occurred during dining hours between 6:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. in the evening, which means this crime is different from purse snatchings that happen on sidewalks. These were premeditated attacks, specifically targeting the patrons of expensive, pricey restaurants in expensive, pricey parts of town. The criminals knew what type of customers they were going to encounter in places like this, which is sadly the very reason these places were pre-selected targets. But just as crimes in places like this look like
literally why we have guns. Isn't your gun right amendment just to protect your property? This isn't on your property.
Over previous...
Besides, I'm pretty sure it works both ways, by the way. Like, yes, you're making guns more accessible for you, but you're also making it more accessible for the guy that's holding it. I don't think it works. I don't think it's that simple, guys.
Types of street-related crime. There's a new escalation that has now started happening with the whole restaurant scene, and it's not happening on the street.
The most recent incident happened here at Birds of a Feather about a week ago. This time, 2 men held up customers dining inside of the restaurant. The men stole cell phones and a watch. Sources tell Pix 11.
Oh, in New York you have no guns, right? Yeah. Self-defense too? Yeah, but what are the chances you're just walking around with your gun when you're going to a restaurant? Unless you're like part of the Sicilian mafia. I don't know if you're gonna walk around with your gun.
Look at that. The most recent incident did not happen at a sidewalk seating arrangement. No, it happened inside the restaurant. The thieves just walked in the front door and walked out with everyone's stuff. Which totally makes sense. If you're a criminal and you get away with minor crimes, you're just gonna graduate to bigger and better heists.
Bro.
And the videos we're seeing...
Yeah, I'm definitely anti-gun. You guys see it as a solution. This is like a problem that maybe less than 10% of this population are encountering. Now imagine all of the mentally unstable people there is in the United States having a gun. Don't you think that's going to create more problem? You going to give a gun to all the mentally ill people? Nah. You get into an argument with them over something at the restaurant and suddenly somebody whips out a gun. Nah, no thanks. No thanks. I'm fine with how things run in Canada.
I'll show the criminals targeting men who have expensive watches. And if you're a thief and you can get your hands on a watch, that's something very small, very pocketable, and very...
Yeah, you got an argument over parking? True. Yo, that was my fucking parking spot. I was eyeing it. Somebody whips out a gun.
Very expensive that you can easily resell. Because in this city, we've got as many jewelry exchanges as we have restaurants, and finding a place where you could pawn that thing off won't be a problem. But there's another element to this new pattern of crime that is extremely alarming and makes it something that it's very hard to defend against. Because let's...
Yeah, I think I'm of that stance. I feel like if you live in a rural area and you got a ranch or farm or something, you should probably have a gun for safety. But I'm not sure, like, with how easy it is to get a gun, I don't think it's cool.
Let's say you're eating over here at this restaurant, or let's say you're inside a nice restaurant. How hard is it to spot someone coming into the restaurant wearing a motorcycle helmet to pick up a delivery order? That is like the most common thing. So these thieves, they can get very close to their intended victims. They can hide in plain sight, blending in with normal restaurant traffic. They're not even patrons at the restaurant. They just show up with their motorcycle gear on like every other delivery driver, and no one blinks. And this gives thieves who are riding an e-bike or a moped the opportunity to hide and bide their time until the exact moment presents itself for them to commit a crime. And even though most restaurants in town have security, how good are these cameras going to be when the thief is wearing a helmet and you can't see their face? And it's incredibly frightening to think that the next time you're having a meal anywhere in New York City, you could be being cased and spied on as you chow down. But there is something the city could do if it really wanted to take this issue.
I mean, you always need to be careful where you put your wallet when you're eating. Like, once I put my wallet down and I got up, by the time I went back down, like I said, back down, my wallet was gone. But that was just like stupid on my part. Never leave your wallet out like this.
Seriously and really wanted to put a stop to it. But as you're about to see, the solution to all of this is so logical and so straightforward that it's never gonna happen in this city, and that's something that should not only disappoint all of us, but should frighten us, because we're all targets. Here we have ye old police department. This is the Greenwich precinct, which is responsible for protecting people who were at that restaurant Carbone over in the West Village, but it's about a 15-minute walk. And the sad truth is that New York City just...
No, some of the criminals are getting it legitimately. It's not all of them that are getting them illegitimately. You can't make that blanket statement. That's just not true.
Doesn't have enough police to keep everyone safe at once, especially with crime waves taking place in multiple places across the city at the exact same time. Which isn't the kind of thing that matters to anybody until the watch off your wrist is taken when you're out to dinner and you still have...
That's why you don't wear a watch. Who wears a watch nowadays? No one gets a watch. No one wears watches. You guys have a watch? Fancy people? What about an Apple Watch? How many of you guys have an Apple Watch? Yes, I do. Yeah, just dress like a poor person. Just walk around with Rima merch. Bro, there was a time where everybody had a watch. Remember back then when we were kids? And it's like the cool thing was to have a watch that would go underwater. You know, those with the nylons, they were like the nerdy watch. It's like the watch you could take your shower with. That was the really fancy thing. That was a tech thing to have. Now it's a fucking Apple Watch, and it costs hundreds of dollars.
Have to pay the tab because the food ain't free.
We have a staffing crisis
G-Shock
going on in
watches?
the NYPD right now. We lost nearly 3,000 police officers last year to just retirements, police officers leaving the department. Also, we're losing an average of over 200 police officers a month. So by the time...
That's from 1994? Yo, you think my parents gave me like the latest stack? Now, I received a tech 10 years after they came out.
That is absolutely crazy. 200 officers leave the police department every single month. And not only does the police department here have monumental tasks in front of it, this attitude of defunding the police is still with us today. And that's why the numbers in the department itself...
Yeah, that's the thing is like, well, people just shit on police too much, but we need them. Like, if they don't get rewarded for the work they do, then we're gonna have some problems.
Are declining, and they're declining at a rate that is so fast, we aren't able to replenish the department with new recruits. And to make matters worse, we're losing experienced veteran officers. Which means not only is our police department shrinking at a time when New Yorkers need it most, with all of these simultaneous crime waves going on, the experience of the department is decreasing, which some say means its effectiveness is also going to decrease.
In precincts across this city where we would normally turn out 6 to 8 patrol cars, right now we're turning out 2 to 3 patrol cars in those communities on a given tour.
So what does that do to the safety of the community?
Wait, so why in the States is there such a lack of... Why are they leaving? Why is there 200 policemen leaving every month? Are they like retiring, or it's just too much of a stressful job, or what?
The response times continue to rise. That is the reality of policing right now.
So some precincts are down from 8 patrol cars to just 2. That's a 75% reduction in available patrols. How is that not a recipe for more crime in pretty much every...
The problem with bad cops is the police unions protecting bad cops just because they want to look bad. I mean, there's like a few bad apples, I assume, and then everybody looks bad because these cases are really highly publicized. But that doesn't mean you should defund the entire thing. Like, our system heavily relies on them. It's a mix of people retire, nobody wanted to become a cop. Yeah, probably because we give them such a bad reputation. Actually, when I see a cop on the street, I say them hello and they like wave back. But here in Canada, people are nice to each other. I don't know how it is where you guys live. I always, well, when I see people on the street, I always like wave or say hello or tell them have a nice day. It just makes people happier. But I'm just like that. I'm really social.
Every area of town. Less police means response times are going to go through the roof because as crime becomes more common, police are now stuck choosing which incidents to respond to first, meaning your watch getting stolen at a pricey restaurant might come in behind something much...
Bro, you live in Alberta. You probably haven't seen somebody in the past like 20 miles. Bro, what are you talking about? Of course it's different where you are.
More serious. And what's incredibly frightening about this is that our criminals, they're not defunding themselves. No, they're expanding their operations in light of the lax security that happens whenever the police divert resources from one crime wave to try and deal with another. And what makes this even more frightening is the proliferation of weapons. So not only are the thieves becoming more numerous and more emboldened, they're also becoming more heavily armed week by week. And you know how they're smuggling the guns into shelters?
The only place where I thought people were too nice was in Florida. When I was like jogging and everybody would tell me hello, but it's like, you know, when you're like really sweating and shit, you're giving it your all, you don't really want to say hello to people. You're like, no, don't look at me like this. Everybody is so nice in Florida. I wonder if it's the weather. Here people are nice, but they're a little cold, but they'll be courteous and polite, but not to the extent where like places with warmer weather were. Like sometimes we would ask for directions in Florida and people would be like, oh yeah, let me show you where it is, and they would bring us, like they would go out of their way to show us the place, like 10-20 minutes off the road. I live 20 minutes from Edmonton, the commie hole in Alberta. Of course, listen, I don't know how it is from in Edmonton, but all I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. Let's just keep on watching.
They're using delivery bags like this one right here. Apparently the shelters have metal detectors, but they're not actually scanning to see what's coming in the food packages. Does that mean there's a direct connection between all of this crime and the asylum crisis? Well, no, not necessarily. But it does mean there's a direct connection between the apparati that are supposed to keep us safe falling apart and increased crime. And the reason this disaster is unfolding upon us is not only because
like, we used to never lock our doors. Like when I grew up, we never lock our doors, and I never tied my bike either. When I would go somewhere, I just leave it there. I don't know about the call meeting, Taniko, that you're talking about. I haven't heard of that, but I'm sure you're I'm a good 80% sure that you're probably overblowing the situation, because like real communists are really, really rare on the political spectrum here. Yeah, back in my days, we never locked our doors. And I never locked my bike either, until one day where my bike got stolen, and I was really upset. I was a kid. But you know what? I deserved it. Like, who the fuck doesn't lock a bike outside? Even a small bike, like a small lock. I was so dumb. I was actually so stupid. I went to like the local library, and I just had won a bike in a contest. So it was like a really nice bike, and we never had like brand new things or like the latest tech growing up. That, like, you know, we'd get like the secondhand stuff or the sales stuff or whatever. And so I don't know, I guess that bike was just too nice to pass up, you know. It was out there, not locked or anything, so any like kid or teenager walking by is like, hey, free bike. It was too much. It was like I served it on an open platter. And you know what's really good? If you live in the city, just get a shitty bike. One of my friend found this bike in the street, and he gave it to me, and I kept that bike for 2 years, and it brought me everywhere. It was like the cheapest bike ever. I remember there was a Star Wars keychain on it. It was blue. It was shitty as fuck. And I never locked it anywhere, and it never got stolen because no one wanted it. That's literally the key to not getting your shit stolen. Don't have nice things.
the police are shorthanded, it's also because our laws force them to fight crime with one hand tied behind their backs. And the latest example of all this is the How Many Stops Act, which is now in effect in New York.
Officers are now required to record the race, age, and gender.
Hasn't Quebec tried to get out of Canada for decades now? Yeah, they hate Canadians. They hate English-speaking people because they're like, our culture will be forgotten, people won't speak French, and yeah. And I think they believe that they're gonna be richer if they separate. It's never been really popular. It is gaining in popularity now because the economy is bad. And when economy is bad, people become more, you know, they're like, yeah, why not try to separate? At this point, we got nothing to lose.
Gender of anyone.
Doesn't France hate Quebec? French people like French Canadians. Like, we have a lot of French people that migrate here because we got it's very easy for both countries to, like, they can come and study here for very cheap and they can live here very easily. But when you go there, they also love French. They love that somebody else is speaking French. They actually think it's cute, but they think our accent is very rudimentary, that it's like, it's classless. It's like the commoner's tongue. We speak the commoner's tongue. We speak the way France spoke before there was a king there that decided that, you know, everything needed to be more beautiful. Everything needed to sound more beautiful, and the accent has changed. But yeah, we're very special here. Don't take us for any kind of example. There is this, people say that, like, here the French people, they tell you everything they're very frank. They're very honest. Like, they'll tell you, I fucking hate it in your face. And the English people, they have a little more tact. They're a little colder. Let's say you do work for them and they don't like them. They're not going to tell you. They're just not going to hire you again. But in Quebec, they're going to tell you they hate it. They'll give you a chance to fix it.
When they approach,
it slows officers down from going to a scene immediately. But the other side of it is...
Okay, now critics say that this is essentially a paperwork requirement that slows down law enforcement when we need more law enforcement faster, not less law enforcement slower. But proponents say having police record this information is important to make sure that law enforcement...
How is my French? Well, I grew up speaking French mainly, yeah. French looking down on French. Dude, they think we're frank here, bro. If you go to France, well, I went to Paris, okay? If you speak to any French people, they're gonna say like, well, you went to Paris, girl. That's a whole nother experience on its own. Like, Parisians are known to be assholes, but if you just stand out a little bit from the crowd, people yell at you in the street, like complete strangers. They'll walk up to you and tell you like what they think of you. And they're so unhinged. They're so much more unhinged than us.
Is happening in a fair manner for everyone. Now, whether or not you think this policy is a good idea is besides the point, because in a city with a short-handed police department, you've got to pick and choose what things you have your limited resources do, and the more time...
So basically, Mexicans in Spain, I think Mexicans actually follow rules very well. They follow structures very well. They're very well behaved. They're so polite, so nice. Oh, maybe not all of them, but that's what I heard. You guys can tell me if it's true or not, since you come from there.
And police spend using apps on their phones the less time they have to stop crime. And as we just heard, many departments are short-handed right now, and if they've only got 2 patrol cars on the street and one of those patrol cars is busy filling out apps on their phone, there won't be enough cops to keep people safe.
Former NYPD Lieutenant Darren Porcher is concerned about delayed response time and the data itself. We reached out to...
Listen, maybe it's because my mom always tries to break rules as much as she can. That I have this comparison because I'm going from one extreme to another.
To the NYPD for a response. A spokesperson says the department has put in place policies, training, and technology to comply with the law. Officers will be using forms on...
Now, of course, this is just one example of a law that might hamstring police in the event of an emergency. But the thing that's crazy about this is all information, all of this demographic information, it would all be available in the event of an arrest. This applies to people who the police stop in a normal interaction. For example, if the police come out of the bomb squad department over here and they want to talk to me.
I want to go live there. Where did I go in Mexico? I went to... I gotta remember. Because I've been there a couple times. I went to Playa. I went to Tulum. I went to Cancun. And I went to this other place. That's... I can't remember now. It's another place with a lot of... Okay, this is gonna sound... You're not gonna be able to pinpoint it from this. It's another place that was a lot of waves and shallow water. And I haven't went to Mexico City yet because it was like a 3-hour drive. But yeah, I apparently Mexico City is a little more rocky. Tourist area are very sanitized. Okay, listen, the only reason why I say this is because my mom always tries to break the rules. And they always tell her like, no, you can't do this. And she gets annoyed. But like, my mom is unhinged, you guys. That's why I will never bring her on a stream. So it's probably, I'm not a good marker for these things because my experience is like, very different.
Me, and it's an official stop. They're gonna have to put my information to the best of their ability into this new system, which will be publicly available, apparently. But then the question becomes, if I'm not arrested for anything and there's no suspicion of guilt and I haven't committed a crime, what is the ultimate value of that? And there are fears that activists will use that information to further scrutinize our short-staffed NYPD, which could lead to more investigations that lead to nowhere and more oversight that is unwarranted in a time of increasing crime.
I also worry that there's just a general mentality, a lack of appreciation for police officers.
Well, I think the community
yeah.
is really
I think there is a lack of appreciation for police officers that are doing well.
Tie the hands of the police and put the public and the communities in harm's way.
And you don't see this.
So ultimately, there's nothing wrong with a system that increases the transparency at which a public institution like the NYPD does its job. That's a good thing. It will help keep the city safe. But the problem is the resources to do it aren't included with the plan that says it needs to get done. And right now, the police resources that we have are stretched so thin that the moment there's a crime wave in one part of the city, it pulls the resources over here. And then another crime wave pops up over here because the criminals saw an opening. Do you see what's happening? The police are playing whack-a-mole with our crime waves. That's why they're impossible to stamp out. That's why we went from having a crime wave in the subway below where I'm standing to a crime wave up here at our restaurants. And you know what? Once they get rid of this, then crime is going to go right back into the subway. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, are the police perfect? No.
Yeah.
Do they always do their...
Yo, New York City needs Spider-Man, like, actually. It's okay, you come to northern Mexico, you will see the real Mexico. At least the food here is good. The meat cuts are good. Yo, I bet the meat cuts are probably so good.
Job fairly. No, but they are the protection that the law-abiding have when we're at a restaurant between us and the criminals who want to ride up on the street on a moped with a weapon and try to take our belongings and possibly harm us. And that's very frightening. It's very frightening to think that we don't have the backs of the people who are supposed to have our backs.
Yeah.
What kind of system is that? Of course it's going to be dysfunctional. Of course it's going to lead to crime waves. Is that what's happening? Is that why we've got crime in the city? Let me know. How would you fund the police in New York, or are they funded too heavily? Should we restrict their funding? Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video.
Every Subway store... Are they talking about the food chain? Well, you need the entire Spider-Verse. Yeah, we need all of the superheroes. We also need Batman. What should we watch? Journalist says Elden Ring proves we need to trust them. I have time for one more. And then I gotta go. Why are AAA games getting worse? Oh yeah, you guys wanted me to watch some gender shit. Hold up. That one. Okay, wait. Give me a second. I'll be right back. I'm drinking too much. The gaming journalist ones? Like, cause they are they saying you need to... Elden Ring proves we need to trust them.
Gentlemen, it is time to start trusting video game reviewers again. And if you've noticed, I have a
Oh, that's reviewers, not journalists.
sunburn on my hand. That's because I went out to touch grass and the sun rejected my very presence. But with that said, a journalist has stepped forward saying that it is time for us to start trusting video game reviewers and journalists again. And I am here to vehemently disagree.
Okay.
We should be trying to collect as much information as we can on our own. We should be averaging these review scores. We should be watching other people play it. We should be looking into these games ourselves, playing them for a little bit if we can, because 9 times out of 10, when we make that purchase, it ends up being permanent.
I've never looked at a game review. Wait. Sorry, correction. I look at other users' review of the game, like on Steam and stuff, but I would never just... There has never been a good blog article or any article written on a fucking video game. I don't know why. It's always the most surface level bullshit. I don't even know what the fuck they're writing on these things, but it's never good. It's never good.
Because if you're anything like me, you just forget about the whole 2-hour return window on Steam, and then it sits in your library, and you have a bunch of games that you don't even play. I need to stop doing that. In an article from The Gamer written by Ben Sledge titled, "It's Time to Start Trusting Video Game Reviewers," Ben writes, "I get it. Games journalists are terrible at video games. Remember that one guy playing Cuphead? Let's ignore the fact that games journalists regularly beat entire games."
Yeah, like, if I ever want to gauge whether I like a game or not, I'll probably just watch a streamer play it. That's gonna be the most I'll do.
In a far shorter time span than regular people who don't have deadlines to meet, turn a blind eye to the fact that they don't have a single guide to help them beat a difficult boss or access an area with some abstruse entry method like...
Yeah, like, all the games guides that I've ever read were never accurate. Like, whatever they tell you to make a build in a game, it's never good. It's never good. Like, you always have to watch a YouTube video. And that pisses me off because sometimes reading about something is much faster than having to sit through a video. But every time I've looked up or Googled something about a game, it was always such dog shit information that it was just a complete waste of my time.
Like drinking poison that kills you at any other time. Forget about the fact that they beat them before the patches arrive that make the game easier. They also hate video games and choose to cover this beat because they want to destroy the entire industry. It doesn't matter that wages are low across the sector and crunch is rife, especially when reviewing 100-hour games with bafflingly tight turnarounds. We hate video games and we can't wait to tear them down. Who are you writing this article for?
Yeah, why? Why did he write that? Why did he write that? I don't get it. Is it sarcastic? It's gotta be sarcastic.
How are you going to start off from the position in which you are trying to attack the very person that's trying to read it that you're apparently trying to speak to in the first place? One of the biggest issues in today's video game journalism and video game reviews is the fact that many of these articles don't seem like they're tuned for, well, the reader. They're not tuned for the consumer, the people that are trying to make an educated purchase or trying to learn more about the industry. No, instead, they are tuned at the inner circles within this industry. They're articles that are targeted at other journalists, and everybody's just talking.
It's just spiteful. True. Maybe because they keep getting criticized by gamers. It's like if a content creator always complains about its viewers or something.
Talking with.
I mean, to be fair, gamers are very well informed, and they're a lot more skeptical of information. So they're a very hard audience to please. But that's also because their bar's pretty high. That should be seen as a challenge.
In these small little groups, rather than trying to talk to the people that this information is supposed to be useful for. But you're starting an article off from the most bitter point you possibly could. Absolutely butthurt, by the way. And what do you think you're going to accomplish by this?
True.
Do you think any video game player, any reader that's going to be out there that is thinking to themselves, you know what? Damn it, this guy's right. What was I thinking? No, anybody's going to read this and be like, what is wrong with this guy? What chip on his shoulder does he have? I have nothing to do with this. You're bringing up Twitter nonsense more than it is anything else, and you're bringing that into the real world, and you think that everything revolves around it, and it doesn't, man. It doesn't. You want to know why wages are tight? You want to know why your websites are dying? It's because none of you are providing useful information.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say none of you. There are some great writers that are out there that stick to their subjective opinions on things, but then also provide a lot of objective truths that are useful for us to be able to make a good purchase. This is not that. This is the opposite of that. This is somebody with a grudge that's writing an article that hates gamers, and you're proving the point that many of us believe, and it's disgusting.
Like,
it's childish.
You know how certain YouTubers, whenever there's a new patch in a game, they'll always push the envelope as to the most optimized way of playing the game. They'll spend like several hours trying to, like, quote unquote hack the game, you know, find the best way, the most optimized way to play it, so they can be the first to talk about it and show it to their audience. And that brings real value to their content because it's new. Yeah, they min-max everything, exactly. But game journalists, they never talk about any of this stuff. They never spend, and it's probably because they just don't spend the same amount of time, and so it makes their content less valuable. So why should I click on your article? So yeah, of course they're getting paid less. No one's clicking on their articles. They also get paid by like ads watch, no?
And it does nothing for us. The myth that game journalists not only suck at video games but actively hate the medium is one that I've never understood. However, the issue with game reviews is much easier to parse. Gaming in 2024 is team-based. You're Team Xbox or Team PlayStation, Team Fortnite or Team COD, Team Stellar Blade or Team Censorship, Team Developer or Team Journalist. That's how many gamers see it, at least. There's a major problem with games marketing that's fueling this feudal misery. Hype trailers for games years away from release whip fans into a fervor, and the excitement heightens to a level where any criticism of the game is seen as a personal slight. Calling Stellar Blade's protagonist Eve boring meant that you're a part of the pro-censorship wokeottery who can't stand a beautiful woman leading a game. I actually don't disagree with that point. I do think that video game developers and studios end up putting out their trailers a little bit too early, which leaves too much room for players to let their minds run and their imagination run and come up with what they believe that game is going to be. It's part of the fun before a game release for a lot of players. And that does lead to some backlash because, well, folks are going to come out with some criticisms or whatever they might have because they actually got some hands-on time with the game, and then they go to discuss it, and the players don't like what they're hearing from the reviewers, and they give pushback. And to that point, you are right, and that shouldn't happen. But also at the exact same time, what I feel like you're ignoring is the reason why that mistrust is there, and the reason why players believe that games journalists and games reviewers don't have their best intentions in mind, and that's because they often bring in their own personal biases, their own personal beliefs and ideologies into reviewing a game rather than just reviewing a game for what it is and trying to get.
Yeah, no one fucking cares. I'm not here to write like to read about your fucking political opinions on shit. I just want to know about the goddamn game.
Give useful information to the players. And I have a great example of that, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Back in early June, a article...
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me when Ducky covered Vtuber stuff. Like when that Vtuber journalist, and he always had to bring in his bias into everything. And it almost changed the story.
From Forbes was written that was titled Dragon Age the Veil Guard.
If you want to give your opinion on shit, just write a fucking blog, man. That's what you need. It's your personal blog.
It's an end to tactical combat once and for all. Eric Kane was the writer of this. Now, what's interesting is that when you read the title of this, you would think he's going to be talking about, well, how they're ending tactical combat and how that's going to be a massive impact on the game, its audience, and who's going to buy it, and all of those things. However, as you're reading through it, you find a paragraph that says, customization allows for players to choose their pronouns, he, him, she, her, they, them, and a mix and match of female and male voices with female and male bodies, effectively modernizing gender selection in ways other games like Cyberpunk 2077 already have. This is sure to be controversial, but at a certain point, we need to stop bickering over every little thing. You can just choose he, him, or she, her, and the appropriate voice if the trans stuff isn't for you, after all. And my question to that is...
Why does he need to add all of that, like all of the opinion? Yeah, you can say that the game offers a lot of customization with the pronouns and a mixed match voice. Why do you gotta add all of the other shit, like the controversial stuff, and bring it to a trans issue? It's not a trans issue. It's just more options. Not everything's got to be so political. Jesus Christ, man.
What value does that give to the reader when they came specifically for the headline that was supposed to be talking about the action combat and the changes and the getting rid of tactical combat? Well, none of those things are necessary talking points. Baldur's Gate 3 had them, and it wasn't a problem for the players. Nobody talked about it. Want to know why? Because it was a fantastic game, and nobody cares about anything that apparently all these journalists believe everybody's up in arms over. Nobody cares about this stuff. They only care about it.
I think the way that sentence was written was so condescending that the only reaction you can have to this is like, shut the fuck up. It was so condescending the way he wrote that.
When it's taking away value from the rest of the game, when it ends up being a shield of inclusivity that they're throwing up because the rest of the game that's behind them is absolute garbage. That's what the biggest problem is. It's not going to be controversial because it's there. It'll be controversial because Dragon Age Veilguard is likely going to be shit. The Gamer article continues with, Team Elden Ring got mad last week when a couple of reviews said that it was too difficult. Accusations flew across the Twitter sphere. The critics behind said reviews were told in no uncertain terms to get good and suffered far worse attacks as misogynistic as it was vitriolic. Cuphead has been brought up.
It's not just game reviewers, it's reviewers in general. I've yet to see one that doesn't let their biases dictate their reviews. Well, how could a food reviewer be like that, though? That's what I'm, you know? And I do read a lot of movie reviews, and some of them are good, especially I watch some YouTube like episode reviews sometimes, or episode breakdowns, and they're pretty good. It depends. You need to find the reviewer that suits you, I think. Oh wait, holy shit, I got a raid. Hello, raiders. Kitsunero. Oh my god, thank you so much. Thank you for the raid, guys. Welcome, welcome. We're just reacting to this video about game journalists. Yeah, I hope you had a great stream. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello. Yeah, go get, I can't speak right now. I'm so tired. Go give them a follow on their channel. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you guys enjoy it. Horsewoman, blasphemy, I'm a fox girl. Oh my god, you love my videos. Thank you so much. If you ever want to react to them on stream, feel free. I let people react to my videos if they like to. The only rule is to just wait 24 hours after the upload. After that, you can do whatever you want. You did! Nice! Thank you so much! I'm honored. Horse size queen Tony, they're new here. Don't traumatize them yet, okay?
Again. Fast forward a week and players are leveling the very same accusations at the FromSoft DLC. Countless mods have added easy modes to the game, one called Journalist Mode, despite the fact that journos beat the game without needing it.
We know you're a horse in disguise, don't worry. No, it's the other way around.
Players feel bosses are unfair, they believe the systems are too obtruse, and they refuse to engage with some of the game's core mechanics due to believing that they are a cheater's way out. I wonder if any of them have apologized to the reviewers who pointed out these very issues. It's not just an Elden Ring problem. When Kali Plaga reviewed Cyberpunk 2077 for GameSpot, she was hounded by thousands of players for pointing out the game's negatives. She didn't like the edgy aesthetics that played no meaningful part in the gameplay, so she was labeled a prude. She pointed out offensive depictions of minorities, so she was an SJW. She called out technical issues, obvious even on PC, so she suffered a barrage of hatred. Plaga was at the receiving end of a whirlwind of
the technical issue's valid, right? You would want to know if a game has technical issues.
Attacks from gamers excited for CD Projekt Red's new title. 8 years in the making, their excitement as well as the marketing campaign blinded them from seeing fair criticism as exactly that, fair. I don't know her, but I imagine Plaga was excited to play the game too. Games journalists and critics like games, and yet her 7 out of 10 sparked days of collective out.
Yeah, but how much do you like, okay, there's normies that like games. Like, I don't want to just pass the word normie around, but like, if you only play games on your PlayStation in your living room from time to time, like, yeah, you like games, but you don't like games. You don't like games that as much as somebody that plays games 10 hours a day. Oh my god, my phone just fell. Shit. I bought a new stand and it's really not as sturdy as the last one. It was probably a bad idea. Okay, I'm back. I gotta go soon, so let's get through this video.
Outrage. However, when the game released, fans saw the truth for themselves. Just days after Plaga's review was published, a post appeared on the Cyberpunk subreddit titled,
"Yeah, the phone fell as I said this sentence. I think I pissed off the gaming gods. My bad, guys. I'm never gonna call somebody a normie again."
Everyone talked shit about her, but I'm starting to agree with Kali Plaga. On the whole, the review was more positive than the sentiment on the subreddit. The fan reaction was so intense that a new subreddit, r/low-sodium-cyberpunk, was set up by a minority of fans wanting to escape the swaths turning on the game for the exact reasons Plaga pointed out. What gives? At what point do you start trusting game critics and those who review your games? As much as you think we're different to you, that we have different agendas and want to tear down the things you love, we're not. We do love games. We wouldn't do this job otherwise. But we have to be honest about our opinions. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the Elden Ring DLC, sure, you can take the shot, but at the exact same time, realize that the vast majority of people that you're talking to, again, referring to the Twitter.
I'm totally fine with giving games a fair shake. I mean, I give a fair shake to all the things that I analyze to other corporations, but at the end of the day, you gotta have arguments that have merit. Like, you know, for example, there was a guy that criticized the Dune 2 movie, and I really like that movie, but some of his critics were valuable. He was like, you know, some of the textures on the CGI didn't really make sense, and then he showed like a picture of a spaceship, and he zoomed in and he was like, you know, the grain on that's a weird texture for and you know what, it's things that I didn't really notice. And he pointed out some parts in the soundtrack that he felt didn't really fit. Like, that guy was really precise with his critic, and he was really pinpointed. He was highly critical. Like, it almost feels like nitpicky, but that's also his job, so you kind of respect him more because his arguments had bite. But he never put of his own beliefs in it. He never put like a lot of his own opinion in it. It was just all technical stuff, or like some stuff with the story. He said it could have been fleshed out better if they did it that and that way.
Sphere. You're not talking about the everyday user, the everyday reader, the people that are using these scores to be able to make purchases and make them wisely. And that's where the core issue of this lies, is the fact that these folks are so focused on these people, these trolls, more than anything else, that they lose sight of what really matters and the value that they provide to the customer, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what readers are. They are your customers.
Yeah, it's so salty, and it's always a bad look. It's like, you know, when YouTubers always complain about like that one troll. Okay, it's like lolcows. You know, people always make fun of lolcows because they're always complaining about people that troll them. This is what makes them lolcows. Game journalists are becoming lolcows. I just cracked the code.
That's the reason why we've been driven away for so long.
Yeah.
The reason why nobody's interested in it. Part of it has to do with the fact that media has just changed in general. People don't really want to read articles anymore. Most people would rather watch somebody on YouTube or a TikTok, or watch a streamer play it on Twitch or something like that. But beyond that, pointing out Cyberpunk 2077 and Elden Ring and saying that, hey, look at these 2 times where you guys were wrong and we were right, doesn't really just wash over everything and make it a clean slate, now does it? And one of the things that they just kind of gloss over on this is that they bring up how Kali had brought up how they didn't like the edgy aesthetics and they didn't like the way that minorities were depicted in the game. However, that has nothing to do with players were actually agreeing with when it came to her article. It was the technical issues that she brought up that players were talking about that said, yeah, actually, she's right about this, and that the world really didn't feel all that alive at the time, which it didn't. The game released with a ton of issues, and it definitely was something where
she's talking about Cyberpunk. Did you guys like that game?
Players were blinded by the game's marketing and the hype leading up to it. However, at the exact same time, they're yet again there's a difference between personal opinions and bleeding in your own ideologies when it comes to viewing a product or when it comes to reviewing that product and trying to deliver something serviceable to an audience. And I think that that's really important. You have to really realize and recognize who your audience is in the first place.
They had a bad release, but good patches, so it got better. Okay. I feel like now this is also a new trend where studios release games that are not that good on release, but then they fix it later. They have like this expectation that it will be fixed later, but then the most important part is when it gets released. So you kind of lose a lot of the hype doing it that way.
And what they are going to find valuable and try to make the most valuable review, the most valuable criticisms, the most valuable articles that you possibly can. Otherwise, it's not interesting, it's not entertaining, and it's not useful for the user.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest root of all evil when it comes to this. Especially when they say, what gives? When are you going to start trusting critics and people that review your games? Never. I will never trust somebody else and go by their word, and that's what leads me to be able to make a purchasing decision. Nor should it for anybody else. Just the same as we should never believe the ads or the trailers that we watch either. We need to see more evidence before we make a purchase. And I think that players and just customers around the world have gotten a little bit more conscious of these things, and they've been paying more attention to it. And that's one of the reasons why when they flip open one of your articles and they see that you're talking about a lot of different things that don't matter to them, and you're really just looking for the most pertinent information possible to make sure that the game is actually good or bad. Does it run well? Does it not run well? What issues does it have? Is it things that we foresee that we normally run into? Is it something entirely different? Whatever it might be. That's the information that we're looking for.
Bro,
but not
absolutely, he's right on that. Like, totally. I'm telling you guys, gamers are actually... Oh, Kitsunero, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your rest time. Thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you so much.
9 times out of 10, that's not what we're getting. Just recently, I talked about an article that came out where somebody was talking about how there was a sexist nature around the new Black Myth Wukong game. Completely misrepresenting tweets and interviews and conversations with the developers, and then another group of journalists back them up and say, yeah, true, even though it was actually proven that they were mistranslations in the first place, that the conversations were misrepresented. But people still run with it. There was no apology. There was no turnaround. Yet we're supposed to just trust blindly game critics and reviewers because there was a couple times that they were right and we were wrong. That's not how this works. Ben continues by saying, so find someone with similar opinions to you.
Gamers are highly informed. That's why, Valkyrie, when she released that cosmetic line, the blue line, it really backfired. Because gamers are a tough crowd to please. If this was a beauty influencer and she fucking released that, no one would have fucking batted an eye. Do you guys really think most of the creams that you buy in shops do something for your skin? No, bro. It's all false advertising. Your skin doesn't fucking breathe differently during night. What, like suddenly turn the lights off and suddenly your whole skin composition must change, so you need a night cream and you need a day cream? Nah, it doesn't work like that. But because her product was catered to gamers, she had to do a way better job at marketing it in a way that felt like valuable to them, because they're highly critical, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just means it's different.
while Eurogamer's reviewer found the DLC so difficult it spoiled their experience, our reviewer relished From Software's seemingly insurmountable challenge. I myself play and review a lot of RPGs and text-heavy games because I'm a book nerd at heart.
Yeah, Pokemon cookies too. I mean, look, I don't fucking care if she does an off-label thing. Like, every VTuber merch is probably some kind of off-label, but just what I don't like is when people try to give me their runaround. It's like when streamers take a sponsor and they're like, oh, you know, it's for the community, it's for you guys. Like, okay, don't give me the runaround. And now I know the other side of this is that if you're honest, some people will be like, oh, they're all only focused about money and stuff. But honestly, I just prefer honesty. I don't like when people try to pretend it's something else. I'm also happy when the creators that I like, they support, that good opportunities come for them. So I'm gonna go get that bag. I don't mind.
If you too like those sort of games and welcome valid criticism of the genre, keep tabs on my Open Critic page. This is how to navigate the media landscape. Find someone your tastes align with, whose criticisms you enjoy reading.
Yeah, no, exactly. The Raid Shadow Legend sponsor. Like, yeah, just tell us to reach level 10 and you'll get that Raid sponsor money. We're not doing it for fun, bros. We're doing it for the bag. Yeah, it feels like the journalists want to speak to themselves, but, you know, like, doing game reviews is really not the place to do it. If you want to do that, then you need another medium for it.
Reading.
And, you know, don't try to sell me a cookie that's just like any other sugary snack as something healthy or whatever. Just tell me it's, you know, for your guilty pleasure nights, for your Netflix and chill nights, and, you know, you just want to indulge. It's fine. That's totally fine. Sometimes I just want to eat a chocolate cake, man. I don't try to psychologically convince myself that it's healthy for me. No, I just want to eat unhealthy things.
Find your Roger Ebert. Don't look at the biggest reviews on the biggest websites because you lack the important context about the person behind the web page. You can expect their review to be balanced and fair, but it will also be entirely subjective. Reviews are opinions, after all. So you need to dig a little deeper to understand whether this is a perspective that is similar to yours. If your favorite reviewer writes for an independent zine, go for it. That might be more valuable to you than an IGN or the Gamer write-up. But no games journalist is out to get you. The vast majority try to be fair in their criticisms and unbiased when it comes to inconsequential arguments like console preferences. Nobody's going to give Astrobot a 2 because they love Xbox. Nobody's going to destroy a game developer's lives. We're honest, we're opinionated, we're human, just like you. Oh man, I almost wish that they'd started the article with this, because they're absolutely right. You should be trying to look for people that are out there that your interests align with, that your opinions align with. Not fully, because you want people that are out there that you can still disagree with, because it's good to have different perspectives, but you at least want to understand where their perspective is coming from and what their motivations are, or what led them to the conclusions that they came to when it comes to a video game review, whether that's the objective truths or the subjective opinions that they provide. However, at the exact same time, the problem is that this is also starting to create a lot of echo chambers, and that's exactly what they're basically pushing people here to do in the first place, which is, you know, go find people that you agree with. Well, didn't you just say that I should be trusting all video game reviewers, or I should be trusting video game reviewers and journalists? But that's just not the case. Especially when you talk about how they try to have fair criticism and they try to be unbiased when it comes to inconsequential arguments. There it is. That's the line. Inconsequential arguments. I just brought up an inconsequential argument within this article right now, and I could bring up another one in just about every single article that I pull up at any given time. I've covered a ton of them on this channel, and I plan on still doing that in the future because you guys just keep feeding me with just grade A content at this point. But that's the...
I'm so glad I don't read any of these dog shit games reviews.
The reason why players aren't interested in your writing, and that's the reason why many players aren't really interested in reading articles to begin with, is because a lot of this kind of content has driven further and further away from the player. I don't think that you hate games. I don't think that you hate the industry, but I do think you don't like the players. I almost know that for a fact. And in most articles that I read, it almost seems to be the case.
Damn.
You may be one of us, but you don't like the rest of us. That's for sure.
Huh.
The other problem that I have with this too is that they bring up how don't just look at the biggest reviews on the biggest websites because you lack the important context about the person behind the web page.
Why would I need context?
I don't need to.
Yeah, why would I need... I feel like he's gonna have the same take as me. Why the fuck would I need to know about the author of the article to be able to consume the article? What?
Have important context behind a product that I am visually purchasing. I am a customer of your website. I am seeing ads that are on your website right now so that your company gets revenue so that you get paid to be able to continue to write articles. And I think that's something that's being lost in translation, that they forget that they are trying to give a service. You are providing a service to me, to players, to everybody, and that's what you have to recognize. And the problem is that a lot of those inconsequential arguments that are brought up in a lot of these kind of articles, that's not providing any value to me as a customer. And that's a problem. And that's one of the reasons why these websites are dying. That's one of the reasons why your wages are falling behind. And it's one of the reasons why content creators, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, TikTokers, whatever you name it, are the ones that are taking over because, well, a lot of them aren't doing that. Simple as that. And it's just one of those things is that the more I read these articles, which again, like I said, I've covered a lot of them by now, is that these guys are just so involved when it comes to social media, and they think that's where like the vast majority of opinions are actually coming from.
It's
They think
not.
that's...
Can you believe only 2% of America is active on Twitter? So whenever you read an opinion on Twitter, tell yourself that it really doesn't affect... it's really not representative of the rest of the country.
That's what the vast majority of players believe, and to be honest, couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah, you're going to have some people that are coming after you. I have people that are coming to you. Read some of my comment sections. Are you kidding me? When I first got into this is now, I think, I just hit a year and a half, almost at 90,000 subscribers, well on the road to 100K, which is insane. But when I first got into this, it was crazy because there's only just a couple people. You'd see like, 1 in 100 comments, somebody saying something crazy. But now when you start getting videos that have, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 views, I got a video on here now that has 20 million views. A clip.
What?
You see some crazy things that people say to you. And
Yeah.
you know what I do? I ignore them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're trolls.
Yeah.
They're idiots. They're mouth breathers.
Or they just don't care that much. You should never cater to them. They just don't care about your content that much. They're just not that involved.
They're nobody. Their voice is on the internet, and when I
Say it. Call them a turbo random. You know you want to say it.
walk outside my door, guess what? They're not there anymore. And I think that a lot of these journalists, a lot of these reviewers need to start thinking in that kind of direction. They need to realize that some of the things that these people are saying, some of these things that they're bringing up on Twitter or whatever it might be, it's not real. And you need to do your best to just try and turn it off a little bit. Pay attention to the actual customers. Try to provide a valuable service. That's the way that you can get more eyes on your articles. It's definitely the way you're going to be able to make more money. That's for sure. Or start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, these journalists get one guide.
Better direction, to be honest with you. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, think about subscribing to the channel. Help me out. Try to get me up to 100K. And comment on the video if you guys agree or disagree. Outside of that, my friends, stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe, and most of all, follow me on Twitch.
Yo, a 7-hour live stream?
If you guys want to catch some of that stuff. I play video games too,
Oh, by the time this video came out, he got 100K subscribers. Congratulations. So, Legendary Drops, go check out his channel. That was a good video. That guy's really well spoken, and seems like he filmed all of this video off script. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Warframe is a wake-up call. Isn't that a super old game? I played 30 hours of Zenless Zero Ayo. A Gacha fan? Interesting. All right. I'm late to meet my family. I should probably look to end. I'm gonna send you guys to False ID's channel on the Twitch side, and I will... Oh shit, did I end my stream? Because I did that? I don't know. And I'm gonna send YouTube to somewhere else. The first person that I see live. Edit. I wish the rating somebody was like easier on YouTube. Just so many clicks, man. Send you guys to a V-Allure girl. Okay. Have fun, guys. Love you. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys soon. I hope I can stream again before my model debut. But if not, maybe it's the last time you see this model. But hopefully not. And tomorrow I have a collab. Tune in. Make sure to tune in for that. I'll announce it on Twitter and Discord. Bye-bye, cloppers. Love y'all.